Traylon Burks I'm trying to think of the right way to say this, like the supportive taps on the shoulder pads. And I was kind of trying to overhear what they were saying, but I wasn't able to do that. And so at that point, Burks was carted off. Later, Rand Carthon followed over. Now, the locker room is a freaking mile away from where the fields are. In fact, Vrabel's walking down right now, and he's with Stretch, and Vrabel's taking pictures and signing autographs. But, I mean, it is a long walk from the practice fields to the locker room. So the cart, I mean, Burks could have done anything. He could have broken a toenail, and they would have taken him on the cart, which is the good thing. Now, again, I'm not a doctor. I've never claimed to be a doctor. I'm not going to pretend now that all of a sudden I'm a doctor. But a guy that I took a class at an F-45 here in Minneapolis this morning out in Eagan, the guy who was actually my partner in the F-45 class, he was at practice, and he said to me, it was me and Kaharski were standing right there, and I guess he's some kind of VIP or something because he's got the all-access passes. And he said to me, he was with his kids, and he said he thought it was an Achilles or a calf. Now, if it's the knee or the Achilles, you're screwed. If it's the calf, as we saw with Joe Burrow, then there's still a lot of hope. Now, there have been cases in training camp even this year where guys have been carted off, and it ended up not being that big of a deal. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, for instance, at Lions camp the first day got carted off, and all of us thought, oh, no, that's a season ender, that's a knee injury, he's out for the year. And obviously C.J. Gardner-Johnson did not have those issues. And he's back out there, he's fine. Joe Burrow, same thing. But, guys, I don't know any way to slice this. I don't know any way to be positive about this. I don't know if there's anything good I can say about it. And my gut reaction when I saw Traylon Burks go down, my gut reaction was, this freaking sucks for that kid. Now, I'm a Titans fan, so the one thing that I did like about being up on that grassy hill with Gentry is unlike Titans practice where I'm on the sidelines, I can't really have like a feeling one way or another. I can't, oh, yeah, good job, bad job. I can't do that. Whereas I'm out there on the hill, I'm watching one-on-ones, I'm like, oh, God, good play, 33, and I can kind of say it or whatever. So I am a Titan fan. So I, like many of you, when you heard the news that Traylon Burks got carted off the field today at practice, you put your head in your hands and you thought, oh, God, why? And there's a certain part of that I have. But for me, it was about the kid. He did everything right in the offseason. He did everything right. And we talked about his injury history and the injuries that he had last season and whether they were related to his weight or whether they were bad luck or whatever it may be. The asthma, the concussion, the turf toe, the ankle. And this year, it felt like all of that was in the rearview mirror. I kept telling people when it came to Traylon Burks that I expected Traylon Burks to still be the number one receiver of the Tennessee Titans in 2023, even after they added DeAndre Hopkins. And when I saw him fire the football down, and I saw him laying on the ground with about 5 or 6 trainers or support staff members of the Titans with him, I thought, oh, God. I thought, oh, God, for the Titans. I thought, oh, God, for Traylon Burks. I thought, oh, God, for the offense. There is nothing positive that I can tell you today. Because that kind of injury, that looked like a serious one. At first, because he was just kind of hopping around a little bit, I'm like, maybe it's a cramp. Hopefully it's a cramp. Hopefully it's not maybe it's just a little something here, there. And then when he laid there for minutes and then they brought the cart out, that was when I got worried. Again, hopefully it's a calf strain. Now, it's probably a pretty bad calf strain if it's a calf strain. But again, hopefully that's what it is. And it's not an ACL, and it's not an MCL, and it's not a meniscus, and it's not an Achilles. Because if it is, there's no way to slice it. The Titans are in deep trouble. The Titans are probably in deep trouble regardless. You know, if Burks has to miss the rest of training camp and then show up week 1 of the Vikings, or if Burks has to miss the first couple of weeks of the season, I mean, they're still in big trouble without Treylon Burks, period. But if they're without Treylon Burks for the season, then they're almost where they've been the last 2 years when they did not have wide receivers. Now, even in 2021, A.J. Brown was their leading receiver and was the best guy they had. But A.J. was hurt for a lot of the year, and when A.J. was hurt, the offense simply wasn't very good. And I just have nothing positive to say after what was an incredibly positive first half of practice with the Titans defense, where I was watching. You know, Danico Autry hit Alexander Madison in the backfield 3 yards back in the back. I thought Danico popped him so hard, and it's not so much the hit that I think he would have taken exception to, but it was the embarrassment of getting popped 5 yards, 3 yards in the backfield the way Danico popped him that I thought might have started a fight. I thought the Titans' DBs held their own for the most part in the one-on-ones. They had an interception of Kirk Cousins in 7-on-7. And it's like Gentry said to me when we were watching the defense, he said, I don't even notice Justin Jefferson out here, which is 95% of the reason why I came to Minnesota, which was to see Justin Jefferson against the Titans and to see if the Titans could hold up against an elite-level receiver. And the defense did their part. I was very excited watching the defense. And then I saw Burks go down. And then I saw Burks kind of limp around for a second. And I thought, what is this? And I thought, how bad is this? And I thought, please tell me this isn't the end of the world. And then I saw him fire the football down in disgust, and I thought, oh, no. Then I looked for him. And, again, I saw that tent out there in the middle of the field. I actually think it's not like a medical tent. I think it's a video tent where the Vikings probably have run their video operations during practice out of. And so I thought, okay, please tell me he's in that tent. And Gentry said, no, he's on the ground right there. And then we saw Rand Carthon and a couple other guys lift him up like you see. Again, you know, Burks had each guy under his shoulder, and they put him on the cart. And Henry, Hopkins, and Tannehill, with concern on their faces, came over to give him a dap of support. Burks heads on into the locker room. Tannehill, Henry, and Hopkins get back to practice. There's nothing positive so far that I can tell you. I did tell the Titans that if there is anything, any news, pass it on. If there's anything we can rule out, pass it on. So we shall see from there. 615-737-1025. That's how we're starting today on the Treylon Burks News. We will have Ryan Tannehill when he talks to the media. Vrabel not talking to the media after practice today because Vrabel decided to talk before practice, which I think is freaking ridiculous, and I don't know why he did it. And I think it's kind of bullcrap, and I think it's even more bullcrap now that Treylon Burks is hurt and nobody knows what's what. But we will have Tannehill when he gets up there. Stillman and Company, 615-737-1025, live from Titans-Vikings joint practices in Minnesota, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
The Titans will continue to work hard on the roster as they head to Minnesota for joint practices with the Vikings.
I think that they got good skill players. I think that's something that can help us.
The skill guys are different. The quarterbacks are different.
Join Jared Stillman as he broadcasts live this week.
The natural instincts and the ability, you can't coach that.
Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What's up, everybody? This is Teron Davenport. Football season is right around the corner, and now's the time to place your preseason bets with Superbook Sports. Superbook is the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use promo code TDInsider to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they will match your first bet up to $250 with promo code TDInsider. Will Tennessee win the division this year? Who's your pick for MVP? And which team will win it all in February? Don't sit on the sidelines. Win money this season with Superbook Sports. Simply download the Superbook Tennessee app or visit superbook.com to place your wager today. Football, a $250 first bet bonus, and the TD Insider promo code will make you do your own touchdown dance this season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Join 102.5 The Game, Brentwood Fire and Police, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, Nolensville Fire, and Franklin Fire Departments for the 10th Annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive, Wednesday, August 16th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Brentwood Library. This year's blood drive will be in honor of Nolensville Fire Chief David Windrow and retired Brentwood Assistant Police Chief Tommy Walsh. Support the 10th Annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive held August 16th and 17th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Brentwood Library on Concord Road. Sponsored by B.L. Harbert International.
Trust your pets with Cottle Vet Clinic in East Nashville in the heart of Inglewood for compassionate care and your fur baby's optimal health. From vaccinations to health checkups with on-site pharmacy, teeth cleaning, grooming, and state-of-the-art surgical procedures, trust Cottle Vet, now offering boarding. Visit CottleVetClinic.com to learn more. We know you love your pet. And at Cottle Vet Clinic, pets are family.
Anyone want to tell me what happened?
Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to theGameNashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company live from Vikings practice. Ryan Tannehill at the podium again. Traylon Burks carted off today. We do not know if it's a knee or a calf or an Achilles. This is Tannehill.
Find out more information and see what's really going on, but hopefully it's going to be all right. I think he seemed obviously upset and understandably so. Just thoughts and prayers are with him right now, and hopefully it's not too bad.
What'd you think of the one-on-one period, Ryan? It seemed like some things were off during that.
Yeah, I mean, we're dealing with a 30-mile-an-hour wind, so, it's in one-on-one coverage, typically it's going to be tight coverage, and you got to put the ball in a tight window. They did a good job covering us, and, we got to try to be better with the ball, obviously, just dealing with the elements, trying to play the wind and put it in a good spot. We were able to hit some plays, weren't consistent enough, felt like we had some drops, had some missed throws, and then hit some plays. So, overall up and down, but good work.
A lot of the starters, you guys will get to play in the preseason, but these joint practices tend to be like a good opportunity for you to gear up and get ready. For you, how do you approach that? Do you look at it the same way?
It's an opportunity to come out and get better. We're looking at a different defense, different scheme than we see from our team. As you go throughout the season, you see a bunch of different schemes, a bunch of different styles of play from defenses. So to be able to switch things up, see a different style of play, see a different defense is good work for us. Lots to learn from it and build on as we move forward.
When you guys come together like this against another team, how important is it for you, or is it important, to set a standard, this is the way we play, we want to show you how our standard is?
Well, we want to play the way we play no matter where we're at, who we're playing against. So we know whether it's in Nashville playing against our own defense or coming out here. That's one thing we said to the guys is we got to play our style of the ball and practice the way we practice. And I didn't feel like we did that early on. We kind of didn't start off the way we wanted to and didn't turn it around quick enough. We were able to do some good things in that 2-minute period at the end, but if you don't consistently make plays throughout the game, you're not going to be in a position to go win the game at the end. So opportunity for us to come out tomorrow and build on it.
Sorry, how nice in that 2 minute to get the ball back so quickly.
Yeah, defense did a great job, obviously. I think it was first play or second play.
Second play both times.
So, great job by our defense. They've been making it tough for us all camp. So, good to see them, playing consistent and making plays against somebody else.
Brad, apologies if you didn't ask that. Is Brian Flores' defense unique in the way they disguise things?
I want to say it's unique, but it's definitely a style that you don't see a whole lot. There's a couple teams, throughout the league, a couple coordinators who will play this style of ball. It's definitely something you don't see on a weekly basis, and that's what's nice when you're game planning. You have a little more time and space to game plan and get ready for it. But like I said, good looks for us. We'll be able to take a look at this tape, learn from it, and come out ready to go tomorrow. Yeah, like I said, I felt like we didn't come out and start the way we wanted to start, and guys were battling, but it just wasn't consistent enough. Not just the offensive line, but just overall. So got to be able to come out and be better. I think these are great opportunities. I've been a part of a lot of these over the years, and you want to take advantage of these, but not read it too much into them. I think back to 2015. I was with Miami. We went to Carolina, practiced to them 2 days. Felt like we had really good practices, kind of dominated those practices, and we fired a coach after week 4, and they went 15-1 into the Super Bowl. So, take it for what it is. It's an opportunity to come out here, work, see a different scheme, see different players, with different skill sets than we're seeing every day. But just keep our head down, keep grinding, learn from what we did, and keep the foot on the gas, keep going. Do what? Yeah. It didn't really matter which way. It's just tough to play this. It's a 3-club win today at least. So. Try to gauge it as best you can, but it's the elements, you got to deal with it. All right, thanks, guys.
Ryan Tannehill at the podium, and the first part that we caught was basically just what we would expect out of Tannehill. Again, the Traylon Burks, we have to hope for the best. Yeah, he left on the cart. Now, I didn't exactly hear the full answer from Tannehill. I do wonder if there's a little bit more of what he said. The one thing that made me nervous, listening to Tannehill talk about the Burks injury, was that he said, hey, we're keeping him in our thoughts and prayers. If hey, it may not be that bad. He might be okay. You're not keeping somebody in their thoughts and their prayers. I mean, let's just tell it how it is. You keep somebody in thoughts and prayers when you're worried that it could be the worst. And with Burks, the big thing for me is the frustration with which he had immediately after suffering the injury when he fired the football down in anger. Have you seen that when guys get carted off sometimes in an NFL game and they put the Gatorade towel over their head because they don't want to be carted off and they don't want everybody in the stadium and everybody on TV to see them in tears and everything? That was kind of how I felt. A lot of those guys, when it happens, when something bad like that happens, it feels to me like they know. Now, again, I'm hoping for the best as well with Traylon Burks, but it was an incredibly ominous sign. Just to recap, if you're just joining us now, today at Titans-Vikings practice. Now, TD will join us in a little bit. He was on the offensive field. The way Tannehill talked about the way they started out was it felt like Tannehill didn't feel very good about the offense's performance, at least at the beginning. I can tell you I watched the defense, and I thought the Titans' defense kicked that Viking ass today. I didn't even notice that Justin Jefferson was on their team. I mean, that's how good the Titans defense was. They were in the backfield. Autry and Weaver were blowing up running plays. Weaver was dominating against the second team. And then again, Weaver's kind of more of a first-team player than he should be a second-team player, so he should dominate the second team. But if you're just joining us, the news of the day, Traylon Burks injured at practice. It was a deep post. Burks ran the route, just smoked the DB, ends up making a great catch, and immediately comes up limping, takes a couple of limps, and then falls down and is later helped up onto the cart by Ran Carthon and company, taken into the locker room. He was greeted on his way out by DeAndre Hopkins, Derrick Henry, and Ryan Tannehill, and it did not look good. It did not look good at all. I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to pretend that I'm a doctor. I'm not trying to play a doctor or anything like that. But it in no way looked good. And as I said off the jump, my initial reaction was, for all the work this kid's put in, for everything he's been through, and yeah, it's bad for the Titans, and yeah, I mean, it's terrible for the Titans. The Titans have two options at receiver, two good starting caliber options in the NFL, Burks and Hopkins. That's it. And so, of course, it's horrible for the Titans. But I just think about all the work that Traylon Burks put in the offseason. How hard, it was to shed that injury label. And I don't even know, if Traylon Burks, when it comes to his turf toe injury last year, and it certainly wasn't his concussion injury last year, but, I mean, the idea that he didn't come ready to play The fact that he didn't come in shape last season and had to deal with the asthma and everything else, it was like the effort and the focus that he put in for training camp this year and in the offseason program, that kind of made me think and made me realize and make me feel like, okay, that first year, that's behind him. You know, it's over. The injuries, forget about it. And in the back of my mind, I knew, you know, he's still technically, it's uncertain when it comes to Burks and the injury bug. But then I think about the bad luck this kid's had. I don't know if being in shape or out of shape, I don't know if that had anything to do with the turf toe last year. It certainly had nothing to do with the concussion last year, where the Eagles DB just launched himself into Burks' head. But then for him to suffer this injury, to me, I just felt terrible for him. And then as soon as, you know, the way this works in any kind of practice, but the way that this works in NFL practices are as soon as the guy who's injured gets cleared off the field, you get back to practice. And it doesn't matter if it's Tannehill or Henry or Byard. It doesn't matter who it is. Once you do it, you clear it off. And I was sitting there watching the first team offense after this happened, and it was Tannehill and Hopkins, and the offensive line, just from what I saw, that might be a little bit of an issue. But then it was Nick Westbrook-Akina lining out at wide receiver. And I thought to myself, oh, yeah, we're back to Nick Westbrook-Akina on the outside. And right now it's hard for me to say anything positive. I see your phones. We're to them before Chris joins us on the program. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. I see the Titans have all been making their way down the stairs to the locker room. Vrabel went in about 20 minutes ago. I believe that is Rand Carthon right now that is headed down the stairs with, is that Ryan Tannehill with them? No, it is not. It's Rand Carthon and company that are headed down the stairs right now to the locker room, but if we get an update from the Titans, we'll pass it on. 615-737-1025 is our phone number on the program, 615-737-1025, plus D. Mace's reaction after he saw the video of the Burks injury. We'll play that sound next. Stillman and Company here on the program. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. That's right. Hiller is keeping you chilling all summer with special deals to keep you relaxed and happy this summer. Tackle those necessary home system replacements this month to take advantage of these special deals. Like when you purchase select new HVAC systems, you'll get 2 Yeti Trailhead camping chairs, a Yeti Panga 28L waterproof backpack, a Yeti Tundra 75, and 2 Yeti tumblers for free. And get special freebies on Yeti products with every new whole home generator or tankless water heater purchase. Stay chillin' all summer long. Call Hiller today. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Services free guarantee. And I know that because, again, I've been using Hiller at my home for years, and they can do the same for you. Hiller offers convenient, quick online booking. Select the appointment time that works for you and get an instant confirmation. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
Every day we are live and local.
You need to give Ron Tannehill a 2-year extension.
There haven't been too many coaching changes for the Predators.
And your source for Nashville sports.
I think that's what the Titans need.
Players who can score.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S. The versatile lineup is built to help you make the most of your land. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $800 on qualifying implements. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen. Rounds, ovals, radiance, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit 1 per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
Men, this is Evan Bass for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. If you're suffering with erectile dysfunction or other sexual health issues, you need to know that there is no one-size-fits-all treatment because everyone's made differently. That's why our urologists and medical providers offer a broader array of treatment options and can even combine or adjust treatments for greater effectiveness. ED can result from aging, low testosterone, prostate issues, underlying medical conditions, and more. And understanding why you have ED is the first step in treating the condition. That's why you need to know your numbers and understand what other factors might be contributing, and then work with an expert to treat it. And that's where we shine. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we have protocols that are effective in nearly 90% of cases, which means we'll likely find the right treatment for you and you can get your sex life back. So call us. Your first appointment includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. We have 2 offices to serve you, Midtown and Franklin.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
Are you always on the go? We've got you covered. Download the Game Nashville app from your app store and listen to us wherever you are.
Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexroad. It's Chase McCabe.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mays.
Stillman Company.
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
Good station. I listen to it all the time.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, other than this sucks.
Yeah, if you go on Twitter or the X as they call it now, you can see video of Traylon running a deep post, making a really good catch.
Yeah, you can see the
high
video.
Point, and then he just goes down, and the way he looked, it doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good. He didn't want to put any pressure on that left leg at all. So whether it's a knee, an Achilles, or a quad, a calf muscle, whatever it is, it hurt him to the point where he didn't want to put any weight on that left side. So hopefully it's not as bad and that he will be able to come back sooner rather than later.
There you go. That was D. Mace. And that doesn't sound very positive when D. Mace just goes, yeah, it's bad. Again, we will be following the Traylon Burks injury. I've reached out to the Titans. I've told the Titans if there's anything to pass along, especially, things that we could rule out, please let us know. We will see where that goes. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com here on the program today. Again, live out at Titans-Vikings practice. Texter said, Jared, yourself is a huge Titans fan. How are you okay with another main guy going down on the Titans? Like, are the Titans going to go through 100 guys again so far this year? I mean, so far, and again, let's knock on all the wood around here, but so far the Titans, I think, have done a pretty good job of staying healthy. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, yeah, some guys got dinged up in the preseason game the other day. Guys get hurt in every game. So Shaquille Brown's hurt, okay, fine. But for the most part, Simmons, Henry, Autry, Hopkins, Tannehill, Byard, Hooker, Fulton, Azeez Al-Shaair, those guys, they've stayed, they've stayed healthy. And I was really, I thought 3 things, 3 reasons why the Titans were going to have better luck with injuries this year. And maybe it was, again, to the point of me being a Titans fan, maybe it's the fan optimism here. But number one, I cannot imagine that anybody would have the same bad luck 3 years in a row. Now, I'm not saying that there is, nothing to, you guys complain about the training staff all the time. The Titans analyzed the grass and decided to put in that new turf that's apparently better than the regular turf, which there is a difference because I've been on both, and it is different, but I don't know if that's going to help injuries or whatever. The Titans in free agency went after guys that didn't have injury histories because they were tired of dealing with David Long, who was always hurt, and players like that. Nate Davis, for instance, I think that was part of the reason why they weren't interested in bringing him back, although I had heard that Vrabel hated him. So I think that might be part of it. But I know that there's no way this could happen to 3 years in a row where it's 100 guys over the course of the season. There's no way. At least that's what I thought. So that was part of the reason. The other reason the Titans have gone out of their way to make changes to try to not have injured guys out there. And, I mean, you just can't have the same bad luck. I mean, were we expecting the same bad luck every year? Oh, goodness gracious. Texter says, can we wait until an announcement before we assume the worst? No. I mean, I can tell you right now, there was every single person I was talking to at practice, not one person was sitting there saying, hold on, let's wait. I mean, he's still on the cart. It's still rolling out because the practice fields in the locker room, at least the visiting locker room, are very far away from one another. And so that cart's still rolling out, and everybody's talking about what this means for the Titans. Texter says, how did Will Levis look today? Usually with no Levis reporting means he did well. I did not watch the offense. TD will join us later. And when TD does, you can ask him about Will Levis. Right now, all I saw the defense dominate. And then I saw there were two plays. One, Colton Dowell got away and had a huge touchdown. I think that was in 7-on-7s. And Kyrus Jackson had another huge game. Boy, his name just keeps coming up over and over and over again. Kyrus Jackson. And then we saw Treylon Burks get loose for one and come up limping and fire the football down in disgust and then end up laying down in front of the video cart or the video tent before they came out and brought the cart out for him. And Ran Carthon, Ryan Tannehill, DeAndre Hopkins, and Derrick Henry all kind of gave their well wishes to Treylon Burks before the cart went off into the locker room. And that's so far all we know. Texter says, I know it's just by chance, but I'm so over this team and the injuries. Can't express through a text how pissed off I truly am. I feel the sentiment. Because, again, as a Titan fan, I was sitting there, or standing there, I should say. I was standing there watching Burks get hurt. And I thought about, and I was just starting to feel good about this team. I mean, real good. Sure, they can't kick field goals, but they haven't been able to kick field goals for 4 years, and they'll figure it out. But the defense today dominated that Vikings offense for what I saw before I ended up sprinting down the hill to try to see what happened with Treylon Burks. The defense, this is the reason why I wanted to come out here, was because I wanted to know, was the Titans' success in practice on defense, was that, the Titans have a really good defense, or was it, the Titans have a really bad offense? And I figured that these Viking practices would give us an idea of where they are. It would be a good measuring stick because I think the Vikings are a decent enough team. And so while I didn't watch the offense and I was watching the defense, I think we all know that the Titans are going to be a defense-first team. And this defense, I mean, they were popping guys today at practice, probably more than Kevin O'Connell would have liked. The Titans' defense was popping guys. And so I feel good about Burks. I feel good about Hopkins. I feel good about Henry. I think Paul Kaharski wrote about it at his website that Tannehill had really taken a step forward in the offense. All the talk's been about Levis and Willis, but that Tannehill had actually taken a step forward here. And then Burks goes down, and it's like, oh no, right back to square one, right back to where they've been, right back to the discussion that I feel like we have on a consistent basis that we had all of last year. Who's going to catch the ball? And there's Tannehill under center. I turn around, and I'm looking back at practice, and there's Tannehill under center in 11-on-11, and there's number 15, Nick Westbrook-Akina, busted outside. Now, again, Westbrook-Akina, nothing against him, but I like him as the fourth receiver, not as the second receiver. And it feels like every year, no matter how many guys the Titans go out and get, they always end up in key spots with Nick Westbrook-Akina at wide receiver, and I was hopeful that this year wouldn't be more of the same. And it looks like after today's practice, it may be more of the same. Texter says, how did Big Jeff look? I love watching him wreck it. Jeff dominated the defense. Arden Key jumped off sides one time. Other than that, the defensive line absolutely dominated. There was one run or two where Alexander Madison took a handoff, and I felt like the Vikings offensive line got the better push of the Titans. But for the most part, the Titans defense looks really good. There's one position that I think they're concerned with, which is that inside linebacker spot. I didn't even see Monty Rice there today. I don't even know if he's still on the team anymore. But Jack Gibbons right now is starting at that spot next to Azeez Al-Shaair, and I think the Titans are going to get creative with ways to try to figure that spot out because Gibbons can't run. Gibbons cannot run. And so I think they're going to try to put some guys on the field that can run, might be a little bit smaller in that spot. But Al-Shaair is the real deal, folks. Like, he is, I think, the perfect replacement for David Long. Like, he is all over the place all the time at practice. And as good as the defense was today, it's like a giant cloud just came over the second that I saw Treylon Burks get hurt. Texter texted in and said, just tuning in, what happened to Burks. I think there's a lot of people that are going to be joining in and out throughout the course of the program, so we will be going over this today. Again, Treylon Burks in 11-on-11 on a deep post route, smoked the safety, came up with a wonderful catch, came down with a non-contact injury to the left leg. We do not know if it's a knee, if it's a calf, or if it's an Achilles. Burks would later fire the football down in disgust. He ended up being surrounded by about 5 or 6 trainers or team support staff workers. He would later lay down. There was in between these practice fields, there's kind of this like runway where the Vikings put a lot of their stuff and people walk through to go from one field to another. And Burks was laying down in front of the video tent. And then after a bit, Ran Carthon and some of the training staff helped Burks up, and they carried him over to the cart, where they put him on the cart. Ryan Tannehill, DeAndre Hopkins, Derrick Henry all came over to give well wishes to Burks, and the cart went into the locker room, and that is the extent of what we know. So we will keep up with that. Stefania Bell, ESPN, has texted me. She says that she's seen the video and can't really declare anything from that. She says that if additional info emerges, she may be able to talk then, but Stefania Bell saying that she can't really declare anything from what she saw in the video. That's ESPN's injury expert. So, again, the video that's out there on Twitter, she says she can't tell anything from it. Now, again, the guy that I worked out with at F45 this morning in Eagan, he had the same VIP access apparently the media had today. Really nice guy, by the way. But he had the same VIP access, and he was telling me and Kaharski that he thinks it was a calf. And that might be best case scenario is a calf strain. I mean, best case scenario is a cramp, but it's not a cramp. Best case scenario is a calf strain. And I still think that would put Burks out for a while. 615-737-1025. Chris Sanders will join the program coming up next. He's seen the video. He will react to Treylon Burks and what it means as far as Treylon Burks is concerned. We'll get to that coming up next. PhD weight loss. I actually love the fact that while I'm here, when it comes to PhD weight loss, I took all my PhD weight loss stuff with me. In fact, if you're looking at the stream, I got my little PhD all in the baggie, got my fruit drink right there. I absolutely love PhD. It's allowed me to help control my weight, which I am really excited about. Because a lot of times it's been very difficult for me. Sometimes I, feel like I'm doing a good job losing weight. Other times I feel like I'm doing a bad job. But with PhD weight loss, they give me a meal plan, and it's very easy for me to stick to. Now, the process is not easy because anytime somebody goes through that kind of change or the refocus, it is a grind. But PhD helps as much as they can. And that's why I'm so glad. I've already blown past the 20-pound mark. I even felt it today working out at F45. I just feel lighter. I just feel better. That's PhD Weight Loss. They give you 85% of the food and the coaching. I got to chat with my coach tomorrow, which, of course, we will do. And their guarantee. PhD Weight Loss guarantees that if you do not get within 5 pounds of your target weight, they will coach you for free until you do. That's myphdweightloss.com. Again, myphdweightloss.com. PhD Weight Loss. Give it a try. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey folks, Joe Rexo here. I want you to know Twin Peaks is the place for your fantasy football draft party. Their draft party package gives league commissioners and its members an elevated, easy experience along with scenic views. At Twin Peaks, your draft party package includes a draft board, player stickers, a $50 bonus commissioner card, a $5 bonus card per league member, and a premium table reservation with Wi-Fi. Get to Twin Peaks this year for your fantasy football draft party. Locations in Madison and Cool Springs.
Hey, what's up? It's Chase McKay. Been talking about PhD weight loss for a while now. Dr. Ashley Lucas, it is the program that she has created. And the best part is they'll create that program specifically for you because you know what? We are all different. My program and your program are going to be different things. I am enjoying it. The food, 85% of it is provided for you if you choose to use it at no additional cost. Or your coach can teach you how to use your own food and still work with the program. I mentioned a coach that you have those weekly one-on-one sessions with your coach. See how you're doing. They can adjust things as you go because your body's going to change. And then when you get to your goal weight, they're going to teach you how to keep it. I mentioned that goal weight. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight by the end of your program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. That is their offer guarantee. So why would you not check this out? Go to myphdweightloss.com. That's myphdweightloss.com.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, Willie Donick here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. That's 100%. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loan. Consolidate all your payments into one check per month and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. And Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now. See what your options are. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hendersonville has a newly renovated Dunkin' store, and the Game invites you to join us this coming Monday morning for their grand reopening at 209 Indian Lake Boulevard in Hendersonville. We will be there with great giveaways and free stuff. That's Monday morning at the newly remodeled Dunkin' in Hendersonville.
They combine hard-hitting journalism.
The Titans asked Kevin Byard to take a pay cut.
Strong-willed opinions.
There's hot takes and then there's like weird takes. Yeah. This is a weird take.
And sometimes some old man takes.
I'm excited about it. So do I gyrate embarrassingly?
To create the perfect morning show, they are Robbie and Rex Road. Mornings from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What would you say to Traylon and how tough is that to have that happen in a practice?
Yeah, just went over, checked on him. You hate seeing that. Yeah, we'll find out more information and see what's really going on. But yeah, hopefully it's going to be all right. I think he seemed obviously upset and understandably so. Just thoughts and prayers are with him right now, and hopefully, it's not too bad.
That didn't seem like Tannehill had really anything positive to say there. Again, the big news, if you're just joining, Treylon Burks carted off the field today at joint practice with the Titans and the Vikings. From my vantage point, Burks caught the football, got up with a limp, fired the football down in anger when the limp would not go away. Burks was then later carted off the field. He was laid down on the field in front of the video tent. Later, they brought out the cart. He was lifted by Rand Carthon and the medical staff onto the cart. Tannehill, Henry, and Hopkins came over, and the cart took Treylon Burks away. We do not know if it is a knee or an Achilles or a calf, or we don't know. And again, we should say there have been high-profile players, C.J. Gardner-Johnson of the Lions, Joe Burrow of the Bengals, that have been carted off so far at training camp, only to have non-major injuries. But it was a non-contact injury today to Treylon Burks. Former Titans receiver Chris Sanders joins us now on the program. Yeah. Chris, you saw the video. What was your reaction to it?
I mean, it's tough. I mean, I just kind of watched it over and over again, and I kind of watched his body language. We don't know if it's a knee or it's a calf muscle, But just looking at when he tries to put pressure on his leg, he's on his tippy toe. So in my mind, I'm not saying I'm a doctor and I'm trying to act like a doctor, but it looks like it's more than a knee than a calf muscle. It's just sad overall because this kid worked so hard to get back. He went through trials and tribulations when he got in the league. He overcame that, and now he was in position to where his offensive coordinator trusts him and all his players trust him, and then all of a sudden you have this injury. It's just a tough deal for this kid.
So what makes you think it's a knee again? Because he was on his toes as opposed to the calf?
Yeah, he was on his toes. I mean, yeah, he was on his toes because the thing about it, if you look at when Burrow hurt his calf muscle, you can tell he's hopping on one leg and he's kind of sitting back. But you look at Burks, and I'm not acting like a doctor, I'm saying I'm a doctor, but when you try to walk and try to put pressure on it, you're on your tippy toes because the knee is hurting. If you watch closely, he grabs his knee with his left hand. So it's just a tough deal overall.
Chris, let's talk worst-case scenario here for the Titans. If this is Harold Landry 2.0 and we don't see Treylon Burks this season, how much trouble are the Titans in?
I'm not saying they're in trouble. I just think that it changes up things a lot because as opposed to having two impact wide receivers that can take the top off the defense and make some explosive plays, and now we go just like what you talked about the NWI. He's consistent. He makes plays, but he doesn't scare you like a Burks does. So I just think that Tim Kelly is just. I'm not saying that he's out, that Burks is out for the season, but I'm just saying if Tim Kelly finds out that he is out for the season, then I think the offense is going to change a little bit because you took away one of your explosive players.
So I keep watching the video now that you bring it up. I'm trying to see what you're seeing as far as the tiptoes are concerned.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I do wonder the non-contact nature of it. How much does that worry you?
Yeah, because the thing about it is, have you noticed, like, when he goes up and catches the ball, he comes down so hard and he plants so hard. It's not that, he got hit or anything or kind of gyrated, whatever it is, but he plants so hard into the ground. So when you plant too hard in the ground, then something's got to give. And I'm not saying it's a knee, I'm not saying it's a calf, but when you're trying to stop yourself and prevent yourself from falling on the ground and all that pressure goes down in the ground and it works up, I just think that's why, in my opinion, I'm not saying it is, but I think that it could be a knee injury.
Is there any chance that this is, a cramp or something minor and that tomorrow the Titans will tell us, oh, yeah, he'll be out for the next couple of days, but he'll be fine?
No, a cramp is different because the thing about it is a cramp you can kind of stretch it out, and that happens all the time when I coach football. There's guys that get cramps, you can stretch it out, but if you look at the situation when he's laying on the ground, there was no stretching. There was just observing him to see what is going on. If it's your calf, if it's your knee, there was no stretching. So that's just, and I hate to say this, it's a bad sign when you see something like that as opposed to stretching. It's just, man, it just kind of hurts my heart for this kid.
Chris Sanders is with us. This may be the single most irresponsible thing I've ever done on the radio, and I have done some irresponsible stuff in my day. Do you think it's an ACL?
I want to be careful because I don't want to get anybody mad. Man, forget that. I'm just going to say it. But in my opinion, I just think it is just the way he gets up, the way he tries to put weight on his leg. It goes back to Burrow. Burrow, when he got carted off and he got hurt, he started to hop on one leg and sit back. Burks tries to put pressure on his leg and he tiptoes. That's just kind of a bad sign. I remember when Kevin Dyson in practice, hurt his knee when Perry Phoenix ran into him. He tried to put pressure on his knee, and it was the exact same way that Burks got up when Kevin Dyson got up also.
Oh, man. Chris Sanders
No, I'm not. Listen, I'm not saying I'm a doctor. I'm not trying to be Dr. Phil or anything.
Dr. Chris Sanders.
No, see, no, it's just the way, if you watch closely, I think he gets hurt when he starts to stumble. And when you stumble, look at the powerful way he's driving into the ground. And when you're driving into the ground, that means something's got to give. That means so much pressure is going up into the leg because he's trying to brace himself from falling. So I watched it over and over and over and over and over again. I just think that when he starts to try to stop in the pressure and the pounding into the ground, I think that's where he got hurt at.
Chris, I will say this. If Treylon Burks is out for the season, I am going to hit the panic button. And I know that injuries happen in the NFL, and the Titans are going to lose people every year to injury. Right. Everybody's going to have somebody on their team who has a torn ACL or a torn pectoral muscle or, this isn't like it'd be the first guy that ever gets hurt on the Titans. But last year, Philadelphia, one of their big strengths over the course of the season was that they didn't have a lot of injuries.
Right.
And so I just know that, I think the Titans, Chris, are a good team.
Yeah, they
have
are.
the potential to be really good, especially with their defense, if the right guys stay healthy. And Burks is one of about 8 or 9 guys that is the right guy that they cannot afford to lose.
I mean, I agree with you 100%, but this is what makes, DeAndre Hopkins signing so big. But just imagine if the Titans went in the season and didn't sign DeAndre Hopkins, they would really, really be in trouble. I mean, you still got some guys. We got some guys that's been showing up. Chris Moore's been playing well. Harrison's been playing well. I know they're not Traylon Burke material, but these guys are still capable of making plays. And then also, too, we got to look at Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's still a workhorse in this offense. So, I understand that Burks is a big blow, and I understand he's an impact player, but you still got some guys that had the capability of making plays. So I just think that one thing I don't want us to do, and, I know you're kind of doing it right now. I know we're kind of sad because of him, because of the kid. The kid came back, from last year. But I still think – the Titans can do some great things, not just because they're losing a great player. I'm not saying he's gone, but they might have the potential of losing Burks. But the defense is always going to keep the Tennessee Titans in the game. So that's a plus for the Tennessee Titans in that aspect.
One thing I did notice, Chris Sanders is with us. One thing I did notice, I watched the defensive field today, and I thought the Titans defense, for what I watched, really really dominated the Vikings offense.
Right.
And, I mean, running plays, they were in the backfield a little bit on most of them. There's about 1 or 2 pushes the Vikings had. Justin Jefferson, I didn't even really notice much. Kirk Cousins was under pressure today. And the thing that I do wonder is, it felt to me, Chris, in these joint practices like they were popping guys a little bit harder than they normally do when they're practicing against themselves. Is that natural, or did the Titans defense just have something to prove today?
Man, I mean, not that they have something to prove, but that's the identity of your head coach. Mike Vrabel's a guy who wants to play physical, play fast, and let you know that you're going to feel me every time you carry the ball or catch a pass. So I don't think that's just a thing, well, okay, we're just going to go through practice. These guys are practicing fast, they're physical, and they're just practicing on how they're going to play. That's just the mentality. That's the culture that Mike Vrabel and Shane Bowen, they want to present. It's not that they're going out there and having cheap shots and goofy stuff like that, but they want to be a fast, physical defense, and it starts in practice. And when you start in practice and start to create a habit, then that habit's going to translate to games and winning ball games.
Chris Sanders, our guest on the program, the most positive guy that's ever lived. And even he thinks it might be an ACL with Traylon Burks. Dr. Chris.
No, my gosh.
Now, like I said, that might honestly be the most irresponsible thing I've done on the radio, is putting you, not a doctor, on the spot about what you thought of an injury to a guy that you weren't even here for.
No, but the thing about it is, I've been around, and I'm not promise you. Listen, I'm not acting like a doctor, but I've seen guys get hurt. I've seen guys where they hurt a shoulder. I've seen guys where they hurt a knee. I've seen guys where they hurt a calf, and I saw that with Kevin Dyson when he got hurt. It was the same response. He couldn't put pressure on the knee. I'm not saying I'm a doctor. I may be wrong. Please let me be wrong, but just looking at it, it's wild.
Chris Sanders joining us on the program as he always does. Chris, we will hope for the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you, Doc.
Yep, Chris Sanders joining us on the program. And there's just a realization that I have with this today. Maybe it's an overreaction. Maybe tomorrow I'll feel different, but we'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company, live from joint practices with the Titans and the Vikings. Again, Traylon Burks carted off the field today with an apparent left leg injury. 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robbie and Rex Road for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture, eat strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Mornings were made for better things than rheumatoid arthritis or RA. Xeljanz tofacitinib is a pill for adults with moderate to severe RA when tumor necrosis factor blockers did not work well or could not be tolerated. Xeljanz can help relieve joint pain, swelling, and help stop further joint damage. Xeljanz can lower your ability to fight infections. Don't start if you have one. Before and during treatment, your doctor should check for infections like TB and do blood tests. Serious, sometimes fatal infections, cancers including lymphoma and lung, blood clots, serious heart-related events, tears in the stomach or intestines, and allergic reactions have happened. People 50 and older with heart disease risk factors have an increased risk of death. Tell your doctor if you've had hepatitis B or C, have flu-like symptoms, are prone to infections, or have ever had a heart attack, stroke, clot, or other heart problems, or swelling of lips, tongue, throat, or hives. Ask your doctor about prescription Xeljanz. Visit Xeljanz.com or call 1-844-XELJANZ.
Now, your Game Center update.
I'm David James, and this is your Game Center update. The Tennessee Titans are at Minnesota for joint practices, and wide receiver Traylon Burks gets carted off with a non-contact injury. Here's Tannehill and Burks.
Yeah, just went over, checked on him. You hate seeing that. We'll find out more information. And see what's really going on, but hopefully it's going to be all right. I think he seemed obviously upset, and understandably so. Just thoughts and prayers are with him right now, and hopefully it's not too bad.
Nashville SC will face Lionel Messi and Inter Miami Saturday night at 8 p.m. at Geodis Park. This is your Game Center update. I'm David James on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Bobby and Rex Road. Chase McCabe.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mays.
Stillman & Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
1025 and 1063.
Rebound on the score.
Make every play perfect.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
We're going to win the game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 1025, 1063 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Today, we are in Minnesota, outside TCO Stadium, which is where the Vikings have their practice facility, joint practices with the Titans and the Vikings. You heard in David's update right there. Traylon Burks was carted off the field with a non-contact knee injury after making what was a great catch in 11-on-11. I saw the injury. I saw the reaction. We've been over that. Chris Sanders in the last segment said he thinks it's a torn ACL. Now, Chris is not a doctor, but he has played receiver in the NFL, and he has coached high school kids, and so he's been around his fair share of ACLs, and compared the reaction of Burks to the reaction, just the way he got up and where he put his weight. He compared it to Kevin Dyson, who in 2000 tore his ACL during a practice, I believe, in between weeks 2 and 3. So that is not a good sign. Now, I was just talking in the hallway here during the break. I was talking to Sam Thalen of A to Z Sports, and Sam thinks that he was standing right there where it happened, and he thinks that it's a calf strain. And I talked to a guy, again, that I took an F45 class with this morning, and he said he was standing there with his 3 kids. He said that he thought it was a calf. He thought it was a calf. Now, if it's the calf, it could be the Achilles. But that Sam Phelan says that he thought it might be the calf or the back of the knee, which I believe might be the meniscus. Now, a meniscus, we know that can be a 4-6 week injury. Very rarely is the meniscus a season ender. This is the one thing, though, that I do feel like I need to just say it because I feel it and it's true. If Treylon Burks is hurt, I might as well just pack up and come home tomorrow. We might as well just not even watch the season if Treylon Burks is hurt. The Titans are constructed in a way, in my opinion, where there's about 5 or 6 guys who cannot get hurt under any circumstances. Tannehill, Hopkins, Burks, Okonkwo, half the offensive line, Simmons. That's probably it. Like, those are the guys who cannot get hurt. And I like what I've seen from Willis and Levis so far in training camp. But if something happens to Tannehill and he's out for the season, or he gets hurt in October and is out for the rest of the season, they're done. They're done. You know, Derrick Henry, because he's a running back, I think the Titans might be able to survive that better than one of the 2 receivers. But the problem with the Titans the last 2 years has been when A.J. Brown's not on the field or when Treylon Burks is not on the field, they have no receiving threats. And all of a sudden, Dontrell Hilliard becomes the most valuable pass catcher on the football team. And while, yes, thank God they signed DeAndre Hopkins in case something did in fact happen to Burks, at least they'll have somebody out there. The entire defense will just focus on DeAndre Hopkins if that's the case. I mean, one of the things as far as that Burks to me was kind of the pivot player for this team. That, you know, everybody thinks the Titans stink, and I never thought that. But everybody outside of here, everybody, you know, that doesn't cover the Titans, that doesn't know the Titans, that doesn't know exactly why last year happened, everybody just thinks John Robinson traded away A.J. Brown and that Tannehill and Henry suck and that they're getting too old and that they can't win with a running back and so on and so forth. Now, I looked at the Titans and I thought they have a dominant defense perhaps, and defense kicked the Vikings' ass today, including 2 turnovers in the 2-minute drill. So they got a dominant defense led by an in-his-prime, game-wrecking defensive tackle. I feel good about defense. Offense has a veteran quarterback, which, I mean, as much as people want to see these rookies play and, Anthony Richardson, give him a chance, let's see, you're not going to win if you do that. Now, some of these teams like Houston and Indy, they're probably fine with it. Carolina. But if you get a rookie quarterback out there, chances are you're not going to win. And so the Titans, they've got a veteran quarterback. They've got arguably the best running back in the game. And they got 2 receivers. And I just felt like that would be enough. But the thing about the Titans, behind the 2 receivers they have, is I don't see anybody else being able to step up. In 2000, again, going back to that Kevin Dyson knee injury, in 2000 when Kevin Dyson's ACL popped, Derek Mason went from being the 4th or 5th receiver to setting an NFL record for all-purpose yards in a season. They don't have that on this team. They do not have the ability to overcome that injury. The NFL, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the wide receiver has become infinitely more valuable over about the last 6 or 7 years in the league. And it's crazy because all we ever hear about is the sympathy and the boo-hooing for the running back position, but we never hear about just how much the wide receiver position is probably taking from the pot of money that is normally the running back money. Look at the contract that Tyreek Hill has. Look at the contract. The Vikings, I'd love to go in here and say, how much money are you guys preparing to give Justin Jefferson? I mean, the Bengals are probably going to be paying $30 million to Jamar Chase in a couple of years and $24 million to T. Higgins. That's how valuable the receiver position is. And Burks has the talent to be a star in this league. And it really looked like he was breaking through. The relationship with Tannehill, I thought, was at a level with which I knew they could work with. I mean, I asked Tannehill at the beginning of camp how much more he trusted Burks after having been with him for a year and everything he put into the offseason. And he was like, well, of course I trust him way more. He brought him out to Florida to throw with him. You know, Westbrook-Akina, he's a solid player, but he's not, I mean, he hit the free agent market and he's making like $1.2 million this year. Chris Moore's making $1.3 million this year. Burks is one of the guys who has the talent to be able to change the course of the season. Before they even signed Hopkins, I thought, if Treylon Burks becomes what we saw in the Packers game, the Bengals game, and the Eagles game before he got concussed, if he becomes that all the time, the Titans might be right back to where they were for the last 5 years, which is right there with Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Buffalo. Everybody likes to forget that, but if we go all the way back to 2000, since Tom Brady got knocked out of the playoffs, the best teams in the AFC have been Kansas City, Cincinnati, Buffalo, and Tennessee. And the Ravens, in my opinion, are kind of a distant fifth. And you were 7-3, and you were right there with Buffalo, Kansas City, and Cincinnati. And then everything went to crap, and we all know why. We've dissected it 8,000 times, and part of that was the Treylon Burks injury. You were 7-3, and Treylon Burks had his best game in the NFL, and 2 weeks later he was knocked cold by the Eagles. And I've thought all year that Burks emerging, that was the difference between, the Titans, they suck, Tannehill, they can't move the ball, Jacksonville, they're the best, and back to Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Buffalo. And everything, every test that Treylon Burks could have possibly passed, I felt like he did this offseason. I mean, the guy flew a Cessna plane, which probably wasn't very safe, flew a Cessna plane in order to get there on time for the first day of OTAs after American Airlines canceled his flight and there were no rental cars because Walmart rented them all. Which, by the way, knowing American Airlines, I totally sympathize and empathize with Burks in that situation. But he was so dedicated to the team that he found a way. In training camp, the offense hasn't been very good, for sure. But he and Hopkins and Okonkwo, they've all kind of shown the ability that they have to give me hope that, hey, once we stop watching Kieris Jackson and Will Levis and all once we get to the games, Tannehill and Tim Kelly will find a way to get those guys the ball, and those three guys with the ball in their hand can do something with it. And I think we saw on Saturday, Tajay Spears with the ball in his hand can do something with it. And to see Burks go down and to think about, oh no, now if Westbrook-Akina goes in there, what are they going to do? And no disrespect to Westbrook-Akina, but I know they can't win with him. I watched Tannehill have to throw it to him on a fourth down with the game on the line at Pittsburgh. You can't win with him as a starting receiver. All that optimism I had just went right away. Like I said, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I'm a slave of the moment. But when I saw Burks go down and I saw that cart come out and everybody was thinking it in their head about, oh, this might be a season ender. Or Chris Sanders in the last segment says, oh, he thinks it might be an ACL. This reminded him of what happened to Kevin Dyson in 2000. I thought, well, no bother in coming to practice tomorrow. Let's pack it up and head on home. Hockey season starts in a couple of months. That's how I felt, regardless of whether or not that's right or wrong. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your reaction on this. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in on the program. Plus, the Sports Injury Central group has weighed in. We'll explain. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
It's a long summer. But don't worry. Hockey will be back soon. You'll hear every slap shot, save, hit, and of course,
knocked down in front, rebound, and a score!
On your home for Smashville, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Is it October yet?
Hang on. It's going to be a wild ride. The PBR team's champions, the Nashville Stampede, are coming home in a run to defend their title.
Yeah, we coming.
Stampede Days, August 18th through 20th at Bridgestone Arena. Heart-pounding action you don't want to miss. Tickets start at $20. Get yours today at PBR.com or Ticketmaster.com.
Yeah, we coming.
Join us for the ride.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen. Rounds, ovals, radiance, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit one per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. The baseball season is headed into the backstretch, and get on all the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Just go to FanDuel.com/JGM to join today. So don't miss your chance to get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Go to FanDuel.com/JGM to sign up. Love the play so far. The Atlanta Braves, I mean, again, I've been a Braves fan for 30 years, and this might be the best Braves team I've ever seen in my entire life. FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. 21 and older in present Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
At Mitchell's Mr. Transmission, we also offer free towing with any major repairs. If your vehicle has a breakdown and you should need any type towing is available through Dad's Towing Service. Dad's is a professional towing company in Nashville that provides all types of towing and recovery, 24 hours a day.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, other than this sucks.
Yeah, if you go on Twitter or the X as they call it now, you can see video of Traylon running a deep post, making a really good catch.
Yeah, you can see the
high
video.
Point, and then he just goes down, and the way he looked, it doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good. He didn't want to put any pressure on that left leg at all. So whether it's a knee, an Achilles, or quad, a calf muscle, whatever it is, it hurt him to the point where he didn't want to put any weight on that left side. So hopefully it's not as bad, and that he will be able to come back sooner rather than later.
There you go. That was D. Mace earlier today. And I saw it all happen, and Sam Phelan was talking to me, A to Z Sports. He thinks it was more the calf. or the back of the knee more than it was the ACL. Well, good news apparently. This is from Sports Injury Central. So this is Dr. David Chow, and David Chow, by the way, used to be the Chargers team doctor, and Jacob Cineros, whoever the hell that is. And so they say at Pro Football Injury Doc says, and I'll just read it to you directly. By video, Burks does not appear to suffer an ACL tear or any similarly severe ligament injury, according to our panel of doctors with past NFL experience. I don't want to get my hopes up, but that sounds freaking great. Again, Burks does not appear to suffer an ACL tear or any similarly severe ligament injury, according to our panel of doctors with past NFL experience. The more likely scenario is a bone bruise or a minor strain resulting in a short-term absence. He will undergo an MRI to evaluate the damage, but the Pro Football docs are expecting good news from the MRI. Tennessee's Week 1 matchup against the New Orleans Saints takes place in just over 3 weeks, giving him a chance to be ready for the start of the season, depending on the damage to his knee. And apparently they break down the history of Treylon Burks. He suffered an ACL tear his senior year of high school, but missed just one game due to injury at Arkansas. Burks' high school and then they write, quote, based on context clues, Burks' high school ACL tear was likely in his left knee and may explain his reaction to Wednesday's injury. He reportedly did not put any weight on his left leg while being helped off the field and then carted to the locker room. If Burks does miss regular season time, it should be a short absence, and he can be drafted confidently in all fantasy formats. That's from the Pro Football docs. Now, Mr. Scale tweets me and says, I beg of you not to use that man as a source. Now, Floyd never liked the Pro Football doc just because he always thought it was crazy for somebody to analyze players that they hadn't diagnosed. It's like, oh, how dare you? But, I mean, again, he says that by video he doesn't think it's an ACL. So that's right now, best case scenario. If he says that it's just a bone bruise for Treylon Burks, if that's in fact the case. Now, see, here's the thing. They can tell right away if it's an ACL. I mean, they know right away. Now, they don't technically know because they want to get the MRI and they want to see the tear before they tell the player, before they tell the media, before they tell the fans that it's an ACL tear. But when I worked in women's basketball, we had a player tear their ACL, and the trainer looked at me right after it happened, and she said, it's an ACL. I said, are you sure? She goes, yeah. You could tell by the swelling and where it was, it's an ACL. And about 2 days later, the player had surgery on the ACL. So, I mean, the fact that they're saying, hey, this is probably not an ACL, I mean, that's the best news that I've heard since I watched the Titans defense just kick the crap out of the Vikings before the injury to Treylon Burks. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to weigh in. Again, 615-737-1025. And considering that the tone of the last segment was all about me wanting to pack it in and go home, because it's like, why even bother with the season if something happens to Treylon Burks? That news, again, from Pro Football Talk. Maybe it's bull crap. I don't know. But that does sound like positive news. Texture says, isn't David Chow the doctor who punctured Tyrod Taylor's lung? No, he was not. But I do think that there were some issues with him in the past. I don't even know what they are. Again, I don't know. Like, he might be a bad guy or he might not be a great doctor. I don't know. But if a panel of former NFL doctors say, hey, we can tell based on the video, Jared, that it's most likely, because doctors always have to say most likely and things like that because they really don't know. If they're going to say, hey, it's most likely not an ACL, then I feel comfortable and confident that it is most likely not an ACL. Texture says, I know it's still early, but I keep seeing our biggest flaws from last season creep up this year. Players getting hurt, horrible offensive line, terrible kickers, nobody good receiving punts or kickoffs. I don't know, getting scarier and scarier for me that the Titans have no depth. And I know if any starter went down, they were in trouble. Sheesh, this blows, says the texter. It is kind of shocking to me that after a season with which the general manager got fired after receiving a contract the previous offseason, after all that happened, to then turn around and get to training camp and have literally the exact same problems, it is somewhat mind-boggling, right? Like, it is kind of surprising that we knew. I mean, hell, even in the press conference when Vrabel and I got into it over Craig Aukerman, and we were talking about, what's this or what's that, or, why is the special teams not good? Vrabel made the comment, Rand, get us some returners, like kind of as a joke. And people laughed. And they didn't go get a returner. They don't have anybody that can return punts. What they're doing is they're putting the guy last year who couldn't return punts, they're putting him back there, and they're going to hope that it goes differently. Like, that's what they're doing. So it does bother me that a lot of the problems seem to be the same problems. Texture says, no respect for the Steelers. Yeah, I do not consider the Steelers in the same class as Kansas City. Though, to be fair, I did say Kenny Pickett, of all the starting quarterbacks I saw, he and Derek Carr were the two best in week 1 of the preseason. Now, not all the starting quarterbacks, not all of them played, but I did think that Carr and Pickett were the two best that I saw. But no, I do not think that right now they're on the same level as Cincinnati, Buffalo, or Kansas City. And here's the thing, though, about the NFL. There's going to be a team this year that we're not talking about that is going to be an elite team. Hell, it might be the Titans. It's probably not, but it might be. The Titans certainly qualify as one of those teams that once they get started into the season, start off 4-0 or 3-1 or something like that. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, maybe they're good. And then the team gets matched up in a big game with a marquee opponent. And then when the team beats that marquee opponent, then it's like, oh, damn, they're for real now. Just like when Cincinnati beat Kansas City a couple years ago, and it was like, ooh, Joe Burrow has arrived. The Titans had a game like that in 2008, the year they started off 10-0. They had played a bunch of nobodies, and they had beaten them. And then they hosted Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts at home on Monday Night Football. And they beat Peyton Manning in the Indianapolis Colts at home on Monday Night Football. And that was kind of the moment that everybody said, okay, this team is for real. Like, this team is for real. And so I don't know who that's going to be this year. So it might be the Steelers. But no, as of right now, I do not have Kansas City in the same group with Pittsburgh. You're just going to need to live with that. 615-737-1025. More of your phones, again, reacting to the news of the day, the Treylon Burks injury. What's it mean for the Titans? 615-737-1025. And I do feel like I can just breathe a little bit easier when the Pro Football Docs and the panel, they say, not an ACL. Stillman and Company, live from Minnesota, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
All the big plays.
And we are done. Vandy 24-21.
All the big stories.
I'm sure Vandy will be a much better team if Clark Lee is the coach.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
What a stop by UC Sarah.
Then he wouldn't end up on my team.
Driving his way to victory lane.
I think that's the right strategy.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, fun in the sun goes way beyond the white sand beaches. Let's rock out at a waterfront concert at the Sound. Let's marvel at masterpieces of the Chihuly collection and make some flippered friends at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. Let's pedal the 75-mile Pinellas Trail and stop at Florida's oldest microbrewery along the way. This fall, let's go for all the sun and none of the crowds. Let's shine. Plan your getaway at visitstpclearwater.com.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics at TriStar Skyline offers world-class orthopedic care. The doctors at their Dickerson Road location specialize in general orthopedics, arthroscopic surgery for general orthopedics and sports medicine, hip, knee, and shoulder, as well as hand, wrist, and elbow trauma. They offer same-day appointments, too, so you can get back to enjoying life sooner. Schedule your appointment now at tn.houston.com. Conveniently located at the TriStar Skyline Medical Center in Nashville. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the Game at 615-737-1025.
Catch Nashville Sounds baseball tonight at First Horizon Park at 6:35 as the Nashville Sounds take on the Charlotte Knights. The first 1,000 fans will take home a Sounds travel blanket featuring historic Jefferson Street. Plus, play music bingo during the game for awesome prizes. Grab your tickets at NashvilleSounds.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
AutoZone is more than a parts store. It's where we help you solve problems like, sorry I'm late, my battery died. And
I need a jump, again.
At America's #1 battery destination, you can find the right battery at the right price with options starting at only $89.99. And we offer free battery testing and charging whenever you need it. Get the parts and help you need to get the job done right at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, live and local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. When you want the national
Hey. I got this. I'll take it from here.
Okay, go ahead. Dying to hear this.
We have the best national voices that you'll find anywhere.
Who was more deserving of being thrown from their game?
I'm odd, so I get the odd picks.
They have a new coaching staff.
It's not a bad scenario for them.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
And 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, this is Jordan Rogers, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
How would you say to Traylon and how tough is that to have that happen in a practice?
Yeah, just went over, checked on him. You hate seeing that. We'll find out more information and see what's really going on. But hopefully it's going to be all right. I think he seemed obviously upset and understandably so. Just thoughts and prayers are with him right now, and hopefully it's not too bad.
There you go. That was Tannehill talking about Traylon Burks. Hopefully it's not that bad, but we will continue to see. Now, the injury doctors, the panel of doctors, I don't know if they're quacks or not. I just know they're the ones to put something out there. They said that they think it's a bone bruise or whatever it may be from the video of the Traylon Burks injury today. They think that it is not an ACL. That's all I care about, that it's not an ACL and that it's not a torn Achilles. Now, when I saw Burks reacting the way he was reacting, laying on the ground before they came up and they helped him up onto the cart and then the cart drove away, I thought it was something bad. And so I personally, I am glad when I just find somebody out there, and maybe it's just this confirmation bias. I want somebody to tell me that it's not that big of a deal because I think the Titans are so royally porked if there's something wrong with Traylon Burks that I get incredibly excited about the fact that it might not be something so terribly bad. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Liam says, thanks, Jared. I'm giving up my season passes to Dollywood because you are enough of a roller coaster for me. You think you feel that way, Liam. Let me tell you something. I'm sitting there at practice, and the way the Vikings practice facility is made up, and this practice facility is freaking nice. When I talk to the Vikings about doing the show from here, because practice ends at 2, and we jump right on the air at 2 o'clock. When I talked to the Vikings about doing the show here over the summer, they said, hey, we have a really nice facility, and so we'll find a way to make this work. And they were talking to me about their facility. I said, I already know. I saw the documentary with Kirk Cousins, so I know you have a nice facility. And so they had just a massive amount of fans here. I mean, it's like a mini stadium. In fact, right now, this isn't even where they practiced today. Talk about the Titans and the Vikings, where we are at TCO Stadium. They practiced on the practice fields on the other side, but it's literally a mini stadium. Like it, not to throw our partners under the bus because we love them, but it's a better facility than Vanderbilt's facility. I'm just going to keep it real. Now, it doesn't have the seats that like Vanderbilt's facility has, the total number of seats. But, I mean, it's got just one Jumbotron. One Jumbotron, I mean, the turf field, they got concession stands, whatever. I'm telling this because where practice is, they invite all these fans to come out. It's $5 for adults, free for kids. They can get autographs. They've got games. They've got all kinds of stuff. Well, they have these stands set up for the fans to sit there and watch practice. And, I mean, it's not just a couple of bleachers. I mean, it's a bunch of stands, and they packed them. So when it came to wanting to watch the field that the Titans defense was on, the only spot that we could watch from was this grassy area in between like their VIP tent and their flagship radio station. As I joked with Dave McGinnis, I called it the grassy knoll. That's the only place we could watch. So Gentry Estes and I were watching the defense today, and we had to go all the way to the far side. And the Titans defense, they were just kicking that ass today. I mean, I could go through my notes right now for you, but, I mean, they were in the backfield. They were dominating. They were doing all kinds of stuff out there. And it's like Gentry turned to me at one point, and he said, I haven't even noticed Justin Jefferson out there for the Vikings today. Now, I didn't see the 2-minute drill at the very end of practice because we were on the air. But, I mean, Paul Kaharski just told me the defense took the ball away twice in the 2-minute drill. So the Titans defense was great. So you talk about having a roller coaster of emotions. I came out here to Minnesota to either confirm what I had seen at practice so far with the Titans or for a reality check of all reality checks. Because I think the Titans are going to be pretty good this year. And so I go out to practice to see if this defense is dominant. When I see the Titans offense struggling and I see Vrabel making excuses or basically telling TD that the truth is not the truth, that, when TD asks, when you get the defense dominating the offense like they did today, Vrabel, I didn't see that. That's absolutely what happened that day. It's because the Titans defense has been dominating and he doesn't want them to get big heads. But I don't know if the Titans offense is any good or not. Let's watch the defense play against an offense that we know is good. And Kirk Cousins is good. Not great, but he's good. Justin Jefferson might be the best receiver in the NFL. Let's watch them go up against them. Now, I didn't see Hawkinson and I didn't see Jordan Addison today for the Vikings. But let's see how they do against them. And then we'll see if they're still elite. And it looked like they were playing elite defense today. They intercepted Cousins in the 2-minute drill. They intercepted Cousins in 7-on-7. I mean, it looked like they were doing their part. So, again, you talk about the roller coaster of emotions. I'm watching this, and then all of a sudden I see Treylon Burks break loose for what would have been a touchdown catch, and then he comes up limping and he fires the ball down in anger. And then I'm trying to find where Burks is on the field. I'm like, where did he go? Where's Trey? Is he over here? Is he over? Where is he? And Gentry says, no, he's in front of the video tent. And he's laying down on the ground with a group of Titan trainers around him and Ran Carthon. And they go to lift him up, and Ran is helping pick him up and put him on the cart. And then the cart goes back into the locker room. So the roller coaster of, wow, this defense might be freaking legit. And, oh, no, they just took the card out for one of the most indispensable players on the team. That is a roller coaster feeling. Then, of course, anytime somebody gets carted off, but especially somebody like that who has an injury history, which Burks does, I think that there's a lot of questions, like, is it season ending? Where do they go from here? And that's exactly what we were discussing. And then when we read from a bunch of guys who are doctors, which I'm not, and considering that I spend a lot of time in my life with doctors, I know how much more they know than I do. And to have these panel of doctors say, we don't think it's an ACL tear, of course I'm going to think, amen, thank goodness, please be true, and please don't be an ACL tear. So don't roller coaster me. I'm the one who's going through it. Texter in the text line says, I totally agree. The Titans have the same problems they had last year. They lost close games because they have no faith in the kicker, including when they get to the playoffs. Well, I don't know if the kickers ever cost them in the playoffs yet. I'm not sure I've ever gotten to that as far as the kicker's concerned. Texter says, if you think that the season is over because of Traylon Burks' injury, what a freaking whining crybaby response. It's a team sport, Jared. Success does not hinge on one player. Everything is going to be all right. Just chill. Let's call Kansas City if Patrick Mahomes gets hurt for the season. Let's ask them if the season hinges on one player. Now, I know what you're saying, and you're not equating it to Mahomes, and I'm not equating Burks to Mahomes either. But I think we know there's about, how many guys did we count earlier? I think there's 6 guys that if the Titans are without these 2 guys for an extended period of time, the likelihood of them having a successful season are not very high. Tannehill, Hopkins, Burks, Okonkwo. I mean, you have to put Andre Dillard in there because they don't have a right tackle, which is going to be probably an issue in and of itself. Simmons, Autry, only because I know how bad the defense got when Autry got hurt last year. That's probably it. How many guys is that? It's like 6 guys. And if one of those 6 guys is out, and if one of those guys is out for an extended period of time, it doesn't matter that it's a team sport. I mean, they'd still play the game, but it doesn't matter because the Titans, I mean, we've seen the difference, right? When A.J. Brown was on this team, they were the number 1 seed in the AFC. And A.J. Brown was the biggest difference between what they had last year and what they had in 2021. Now, the Tannehill injury didn't help, and the offensive line was a mess. But A.J. Brown was the number 1 thing. And wide receivers are more valuable now than they ever have been. Texter into the text line says, Nashville could win a trophy on Saturday, and you're talking about practice. Now, let me say this for the Nashville SC folks, because I was going to bring this up on today's show. Again, the big story is a Traylon Burks injury, which is not just practice, but it is the season. Boy, people are going to be mad on Saturday. Not going to say why or how, but they're going to be mad. As much as I crap on Nashville SC, and I do think this tournament that they're in is kind of stupid, the way Paul Kaharski talks about it. You know, that it's a tournament that if you lose, you don't care about it, but if you win, then you think it's a big deal, which reminds me of the NIT basketball tournament. The idea of Lionel Messi coming to Nashville, like, that's a big deal. Playing a major soccer match against Messi, like, that is a big deal. So as much as I talk about soccer and as much as I make fun of Nashville SC and the fact that, you know, they're in year 2 of their stadium and they can't get their parking figured out and everything else, the fact that they're bringing Messi to town, that is a big deal. That they are playing an important real game involving Messi, that is huge. No way around it. And I hope Nashville SC wins, and I'm glad that, you know, they got to this point. Last night when Messi and Miami won, I thought, boy, wouldn't it just be the Nashville luck for them to find a way to lose at the last second, and then all of a sudden there's some consolation Scarbini game that nobody cares about, and it's not the same as Messi. But no, they won. And so Messi is coming to town. And that is a big deal. It is not a bigger deal, though, than the NFL team. And if Traylon Burks is hurt, that's a massive story for the NFL team. Also, I'm sure there are a lot of people, the soccer. I get 2 responses when it comes to me talking about soccer. I get the anti-soccer guy who's like, no, 3, excuse me. The anti-soccer guy who says, please don't talk about soccer anymore. Then I get the soccer guy that wants me to be interested in soccer, that says, Jared, you need to go to a game. What will it take for you to go to the game? And then I get the victim soccer fan. Jared Stillman hates us. I'm not going to the game Saturday. Not because I don't want to go, because, I mean, again, it's messy. And this might be like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. But I'm going to bull riding Saturday night. We already got plans. It's a group thing. Not that I, really care that much about bull riding, but it is, what the group wants to do. So we already got plans. we're going to bull riding Saturday. No Messi for me. 615-737-1025. We've got another doctor with another take on Traylon Burks and his knee. We'll get to that next. 615-737-1025, live from Titans practice. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Nashville Sounds baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike three.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Did you know trading in your car at a dealer could cost you money? Research shows consumers who trade in their car pay an average of $990 more. So don't trade in, sell it to We Buy Any Car. Get your free online valuation now at
We Buy Any Car.
Research published in the Journal of Industrial Economics, December 2015, showed buyers with a trade-in pay an average of $990 more than those who do not trade in their used cars.
Oh, Charlie's, that's where you find me. That southern flavor got me saying, hey, y'all. And ooh, the gooey caramel pie tastes like summertime at Old Charlie's.
The sweet, sweet sounds of this song are in honor of the sweet, sweet news that Free Pie Wednesdays are back at O'Charlie's. O'Charlie's. Oh, that's good.
Yum, yum, have some fun. Charlie's, born in Nashville, and it shows.
Harmon Energy is your one-stop petroleum solution across all of Tennessee, offering turnkey petroleum solutions for professionals in major industries, serving trucking fleets, construction companies, industrial plants, and more. Whether a large corporation or owner-operator, Harmon Energy has your diesel fuel, lubricant, DEF, and equipment needs. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman. Visit ParmanEnergy.com for more info. Your Tennessee petroleum solution providing totally outrageous customer service.
This is Evan Bass for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. For most of us, sex is a big part of our relationship. So when something like erectile dysfunction starts affecting intimacy, it can be a real problem. But what you may not know is that ED doesn't just affect you, it can be tough on your partner as well. Plus, if you have ED, you know how it can make you feel. The truth is, we see a lot of guys who have depression, frustration, and even relationship issues because of ED. But we don't want ED to impact you or the one you love anymore. The Tennessee Men's Clinic tackles ED. Our urologists and medical providers take a comprehensive approach and have treated thousands of men with treatments that are successful in nearly 90% of cases. Even if your hormones are off, or if pills, wave therapy, or other treatments have left you hanging, the Tennessee Men's Clinic will work hard to help you get your sex life back, perhaps performing like you haven't in a long time. So call us. Your first appointment includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. We have 2 offices in Midtown and Franklin.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
Nashville's radio version of The Odd Couple.
You would trade for the third pick? Yeah, I don't know that I would do that.
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robbie and Rexrode.
I'm here for the discussion. I'm not. It's a good one.
It's absurd. Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 9.
Win the games. When they get in the playoff, they'll have a chance to.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
If the right guys stay healthy, and Burks is one of about 8 or 9 guys that is the right guy that they cannot afford to lose.
I mean, I agree with you 100%, but this is what makes, DeAndre Hopkins signing so big. But just imagine if the Titans went in the season and didn't sign DeAndre Hopkins, they would really, really be in trouble. I mean, you still got some guys. We got some guys that's been showing up. Chris Moore's been playing well. Harrison's been playing well. I know they're not Traylon Burke material, but these guys are still capable of making plays. And then also, too, we got to look at Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's still a workhorse in this offense. So, I understand that Burks is a big blow, and I understand he's an impact player, but you still got some guys that had the capability of making plays. So I just think that one thing I don't want us to do, and, I know you're kind of doing it right now. I know we're kind of sad because of him, because of the kid. The kid came back, from last year. But I still think – the Titans can do some great things, not just because they're losing a great player. I'm not saying he's gone, but they might have the potential of losing Burks. But the defense is always going to keep the Tennessee Titans in the game. So that's a plus for the Tennessee Titans in that aspect.
There you go. That was Chris Sanders on our show. Chris wasn't going to say, hey, if Traylon Burks is seriously hurt, pack it in, season over, blah, blah. He wasn't going to do that. So he doesn't, which is probably, a step in the right direction. So David has found another doctor. We had the Pro Football Injury Doctor and the whatever network it is that he's a part of, his panel that said that the panel said that they don't think it's an ACL for Burks. They think it's a bone bruise for Burks after looking at the video of what happened today at practice. So David, by the way, who's in for Ian, who is the doctor that we found today? Who is this?
So his name is Jesse Morse. He's a doctor. He's an MD from Miami, Florida.
Okay, let's look at him on Twitter. He has a blue check mark, which doesn't matter anymore. It just means that he pays $8 a month for Twitter.
Exactly, but he has injury content. Like, he does injury content, talks about injuries a lot for knees, hips, and shoulder injuries.
Okay, he is followed by Chris Mortensen. Kaharski follows him, which I guess make of that what you will. So here's what he said about Treylon Burks.
Hey guys, Dr. Morse, Fantasy Doctors. So we just saw this video of Treylon Burks, who appears to be running up the left seam and kind of hyperextends his left knee. And then you can kind of see it tweak a little bit. There's a couple possibilities here. First one is a hamstring strain, a distal hamstring strain, where that kind of reaches kind of across the knee. That would be roughly 4 to 6-ish week, depending on the severity. Injury. This could be a calf strain because it's the same area. Those are maybe about the same time, a little less than that, usually closer to 2 weeks, unless it's a grade 2 and it's a little longer. We could also have a meniscal tear, which, depending on the severity, would be a couple weeks to possibly season ending, depending if it's how bad it is.
What?
And then obviously the ACL cannot be completely ruled out. There's a couple other injuries. So let's keep an idea on this. Let's hope for the best, but no freaking out yet.
No! He said no freaking out. First of all, no. Freaking out is totally allowed. Secondly, it all sounded so good. And when he got to the meniscus tear, I was like, okay, guys tear meniscuses. They're out for like 4 to 6 weeks. He's like, that'd be probably 3 weeks, 2, depending on how serious it is, the season. I was like, what? And then he goes, but we also can't rule out ACL? No. So he says we can't rule. The first Twitter doctor told us that we could rule out ACL. The second Twitter doctor tells us we can't rule out ACL, and he just slips it in there like the terms of agreement that you sign up for when you download an app. It's like you download an app, and it's like, yeah, by the way, all your information, everything about you could be given to China. Now, I don't care if they give my information to China because I don't do anything that China would give a rat's ass about. It's like, yeah, Jared watched YouTube videos of Tom Cruise playing Jack Reacher. I'm sure that, President Xi Jinping could really, enjoy that one. So it's not like there's anything that I do that matters, so I don't care. But a lot of you are like, I don't want China to know about me. And then you sign up for these apps and you slip it in right there. The terms of agreement, you got to scroll all the way down. Nobody reads that crap anyways. He just slipped that in there at the end. He just slipped it in there that we can't rule out ACL. I want to rule out ACL. Somebody tell me we can rule out ACL. Well, Dr. Chow told me that we can rule out ACL. Ay. The texter that texted in earlier today about the emotions and the roller coaster and everything else. Boy, that entire cut right there was like an emotional roller coaster as to what it could be or what it couldn't be. Oh, my goodness. Oh. Boy, this Wes and Herman are just mad. Now, Wes, I'm not going to say you're wrong because I can't say you're wrong about this. But he texts in and says, I am one of the most sentimental people you will meet. And make no mistake about it, I love Burks, and I truly hope he can come out of this. But Jared, in all caps, this is why you don't fix what isn't broken. The Titans should still have A.J. Brown, and this isn't even a conversation. Thanks, John Robinson. In J-Rob, we bust. First of all, a lot of you people were in Robinson you trust. And I remember hosting this show the day after they traded A.J. Brown for Treylon Burks, and a lot of you were happy with it. This is what sucks when it comes to Treylon Burks, right? I don't know how many of you all remember Tyrone Calico, but in 2003, the Titans drafted Tyrone Calico, a huge wide receiver, out of MTSU in the second round. And in about the first 8 weeks, Tyrone Calico was a great wide receiver. He was a great complementary piece. They had Derek Mason, who was by far their number one receiver. They had Justin McCarrons, who was their deep ball guy. They had Drew Bennett, who was the third guy. So if you got worried about McCarrons going deep or D. Mace over the middle, Drew Bennett would eat you alive. And then they had Tyrone Calico, this just massive and athletic wide receiver that scored a touchdown in like 5 of his first 6 games. Then he forgot how to catch the ball there for a minute, and he made a reappearance at the end of the year. But they were counting on Tyrone Calico, again, a high draft choice that had all this potential, and they were really counting on Calico. And then Calico got tackled by the horse collar on a Monday night football game in the preseason at Dallas. And it was by Roy Williams, who is the reason that the horse collar tackle rule exists. And so Roy Williams tackled him from behind, and it was just that injury led to another injury, and Tyrone Calico never made it. And with Treylon Burks, while I'm rooting for Treylon Burks, and I really felt like the injuries were going to be a thing of the past because of the commitment and the shape that he came into camp in and the dedication that he had in the offseason, and just, again, not that I know the kid very well, but just even being around him a little bit, I mean, there's so much that I like when it comes to Treylon Burks that I really felt like all of that bad karma was in the rear view and the good stuff was going to be ahead. And it does feel like Burks has a little bit of an injury problem, that he's been bitten by the injury bug a little bit. I mean, I think that's part of it. Texter into the text line says, Jared is freaking out as usual. Quit listening to everyone on social media. Boy, that's so true. That's like COVID. Remember when COVID was going down and everybody would just listen to whoever it was that told them what they wanted to hear? And you had all these people that all of a sudden, I got B's and C's in science at USM. I was never much of a science guy. Shocking, I know. But I was never much of a science guy. And I think it was I just wasn't smart enough for it, to be completely frank with you. And so then when COVID happened and everybody all of a sudden became an autoimmune, an infectious disease expert, I thought to myself, nah, I got B's and C's at USN in science. I think I'll let the doctors decide what's what. Now, I know people are going to text in about how the doctors got it wrong. Don't do that. Do not waste my time in the text line with that. But that was an instance where it was like everyone just kept listening to everyone on social media, and it does feel like I'm kind of turning into that when it comes to the Burks injury. I got one Twitter doctor that's telling me one thing. I've got another Twitter doctor who, he starts out by saying this might be a hamstring strain, and I'm like, oh, yes, amen, and then ends it with, can't rule out the ACL. Oh, no, because I want to rule out the ACL. Oh, goodness. Texter says, I had a Tyrone Calico jersey at 13 years old, and I have no idea what happened to that jersey. Texter says, Tyrone Calico was the main reason for the horse collar rule, and now you know why Mr. Reese did not like the NFL Twitter docs. Boy, he hated them. 615-737-1025. Again, resetting the news of today's practice. I thought the defense dominated today. But the news is Treylon Burks. We'll do that and get to your phones here on Stillman and Company, live from joint practices between the Titans and the Vikings. We are at TCO Stadium in Eagan, Minnesota. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Green right, Fox 2 run, double catch. He takes you inside the huddle through the eyes of a quarterback.
Wide 85, tight.
Catch ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck every Tuesday at noon as he breaks down the big stories in the NFL.
Buffalo, maybe Miami.
And with the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans might be like, we're interested in a 1-year, $1 million contract.
Tim Hasselbeck is on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. Genesis Diamond's most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen. Rounds, ovals, radiance, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit one per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
Hey, it's Jared. I want to tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hiller is keeping you chilling all summer with special deals to keep you relaxed and happy this summer. Tackle those necessary home system replacements this month to take advantage of these special deals. When you purchase a select new HVAC system, you'll get 2 Yeti Trailhead camping chairs, a Yeti Panga 28L waterproof backpack, a Yeti Tundra 75, and 2 Yeti tumblers for free. And get special freebies on Yeti products with every new whole home generator or tankless water heater purchase. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
And the score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board.
Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff.
You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios here at TCO Stadium. Beautiful stadium here for the Vikings-Titans joint practices. The big news of the day today, again in practice, and we will recap what actually happened in practice on the football field, but the big news is that Treylon Burks going for a ball, which he smoked the DB on a post, caught the ball, came down and limped around a little bit and then got up and just fired the football down in disgust. Later, he went to the ground where he was helped up by Rand Carthon amongst some other trainers and put on the cart, and Ryan Tannehill came by, and Derrick Henry came by, and DeAndre Hopkins came by, and then he was carted into the locker room. We've got the pro football doc and the injury docs or whatever that are telling us not – you laugh at that, TD.
Yeah, it's – listen, I appreciate the work that everybody does, but, I mean, it's kind of tough to diagnose from a video, and it's a grainy video at that.
So they say not an ACL. They say perhaps a bone bruise, maybe. And then another one of these fantasyguru.com doctors. David, what was that guy's name? I don't know. So the fantasy.com guru doctors came out and said that they think it might be a hamstring strain on Burks, or it may be a calf strain, or that we can't rule out ACL is what he said. And Dr. Chris Sanders joined us and said that he thinks it might be an ACL, with which I said before I asked him, do you think it's an ACL? I said, this may be the most irresponsible question that I've ever asked on this show, and we've done some really irresponsible stuff before. So that's saying something, putting Dr. Chris at bay there. What did you see on the play and kind of your reaction to it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's easy to say ACL and go to that because that's typically the injury that you have to a knee. But I think it was just, I remember standing, because it happened right in front of me. I was standing there with Coach Mack, and I was like, "Oh, Burks is open, Coach." And Tannehill threw it, and it was a perfect pass that led him, and you saw him have to put the gas on to go get it. And after he caught it, he started to stumble, right? Because he was trying to keep his feet so he could score. That's what your mindset, score the football. And he tried to do that, and he just, when he tumbled, I don't know if – so I remember back in 97, Jerry Rice against the Broncos, he caught a pass, and he got hit, and when he went down, his knee hit the ground. And that tore his ACL. Mm-hmm. So when someone says ACL, okay, I could see that. But you could see everything else with a hamstring. Oh, I could see that because he had to put on the gas. Maybe he pulled something trying to accelerate to the football. But nevertheless, he tumbled, and then when he got up, it was like, I'm thinking like, okay, he's going to be able to walk it off. You know what I mean? Because that's usually like you think like Christian Fulton earlier in camp, right? He got tangled up with Hopkins a little bit, limped off the field, walked it off, and came back 3 plays later. I was hoping that was going to be the case, but obviously he got carted in. So, I mean, you could say so many different things, but as I was talking about that, that Jerry Rice injury against the Broncos popped into my mind, and it was the same type of situation except for Rice didn't tumble forward. He just came down right on the knee.
Now, the one thing that I would say that I told the audience earlier, just the layout of this wonderful facility. Mm-hmm. But the layout is, I mean, if he had broken a toenail, they would have carted him to the locker.
Yes. That's a great point because it's a little bit of a walk. Right? Because he's in between the two sets of fields.
Like
right?
The Vikings locker room is over by the practice field. The Titans are we're at this high school stadium that is a really, really, really nice high school stadium.
Yeah.
But the Titans are using the visitor or the locker rooms of the high school stadium, which is a hike away.
It's at least 50 yards away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's definitely 100 because they're over there in that corner, and it's a whole football field.
Well, even to just go to that inside where the weight room is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then, to go all the way over because
my guess is they rolled him. They probably rolled him around this way to get him back here, or they took him inside to the Viking facilities. Where they would put somebody if a Viking player got hurt.
As a matter of fact, they did because they went left and not right. Mm-hmm. They went into the Vikings facility because I was kind of standing to where, I wanted to see Burks' facial expression as they were taking him off. And he kind of grimaced a bit and then had just a stoic expression on his face. And you could tell, there was fear. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So they took him in, but it was on that side. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm curious, what it is.
The one thing about a lot of these ACLs that I do know, and I'm not a doctor or have ever played one, but when it's an obvious ACL, everybody pretty much knows right away. Mm-hmm. I told a story earlier today that when I worked in women's basketball, we had a player tear her ACL, and the trainer knew right away. Just based upon the swelling and everything else, she knew, she's got a torn ACL.
It's
now,
crazy.
They wait until an MRI comes out to make sure.
To confirm.
And sometimes there can be guys that that play with a little bit of a torn ACL or have a little bit of a frayed ACL, and then it comes up later in an MRI.
Yeah.
But I ran down the hill in order to try to kind of get through that walkway where they were putting Burks on the cart because I was kind of trying to eavesdrop a little bit to see what he might have said to Hopkins or Tannehill or Rand or whatever it may be.
Did you make it to that crowd?
I made it to the crowd, but not to where I could hear anything.
Okay.
And so, but it just kind of felt hey man, we'll hope for the best kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just, dapping up the shoulder pads and so on and so forth. So I couldn't get anything from that. But it does feel like if it were that immediate of an injury, I do think that it would have been maybe a little bit different view on the field at the time.
Yeah, and a different expression. I would imagine, usually a guy tears something, they're Russell Gage. I don't know what his injury was earlier today in Bucks Jets, but he was carted off and he's crying. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, and everybody's different, right? Everybody handles situations differently. Maybe it was serious and Burks just didn't break down. I don't know, but I mean, you're right though. Usually there's just like an ominous feeling, like and even in talking to Tannehill, he didn't seem like he just was like, you hate to see it happen. Kevin Byard was like, we heard guys talking that he went down. I don't know. We'll see how severe it is. So usually in that situation, that it's worse. So, when it's okay, I know the knee is. Guys are going to know that.
Mm-hmm. I guess I am trying not to freak out, but I've already freaked out throughout the course of today's show. On and off and whatever it may be. My initial reaction when I saw it happen was, I hate this for the player.
Exactly.
For this particular play, I mean, it's awful. Like, if let's say, worst case scenario, it's awful for the team. They are in deep trouble if something is wrong with Treylon Burks. But I hate it for the player, for the dedication that he's put in this offseason, for the way he was really coming along. I mean, I felt like he was going to bust out this season, and now it's like the injury bug he just never can escape. Even if it's not a major injury and he plays this year, this feels like it'll be something that he's working around for at least the beginning part of the season. And most guys, when they work around something early in the year so they can play, it's still affecting them later in the year, and that's what bothered me the most.
Right. It's something like sometimes you can have those reoccurring, and if it's, the hamstring or the calf, yeah, it's great because it's not going to keep him out for the year. But to your point, that somebody's going to continue to be battling, and you hate to see that. And like you said, this dude has stacked. He's stacked an off season into OTAs to minicamp and training camp. Just Monday, he had a really outstanding day, and then once things got going, I mean, think about it. It happened he caught a touchdown. And it happened on that play. So you definitely feel for him. You don't want to see that happen to anybody, but especially a guy who has showed just a complete turnaround from how he was last year.
TD's with us. Let's recap practice on the other side. The Burks thing will be the main story, the main takeaway today. I was on the defensive field with Gentry, and we were kind of in what I call the grassy knoll. That hill up top where we're like, you got to walk all the way to the other side in order to be able to watch practice. But I do give the Vikings a little bit of credit because the setup here for the fans is outstanding for practice.
The bleachers, and they're getting the all-22 view. It's beautiful.
And they could take videos of stuff and all, I'm just saying. But there's a special area where we have to stand to watch defense. And as soon as I saw it was Burks, I just turned to Gentry, and I was like, well, I know what the biggest story is now at 2 o'clock. Absolutely. So I am on my way down to the offensive side. But the actual practice, what did we see? TD was on offense. I was on defense. We'll do that next. Stillman and Company, 615-737-1025. And we'll mix in some of your phones. 1025-1063 The Game.
New home. New energy. Same Blue Raiders.
99 yards. Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
Catch every game for MTSU on 93.3 Classic Hits. Coach Rick Stockstill is poised to lead his team to yet another bowl appearance.
We're really excited about this opportunity.
Your home for the Blue Raiders is 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
33 hours of savings this Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Electronic Express. These deals are so hot they only last 33 hours. Get a TCL 55-inch 4K TV only $269, or an Avanti laundry pair just $379 each. Save up to 50% on 4K TVs, computers, Bluetooth speakers, appliances, and more. Don't miss out on an Avanti top freezer refrigerator only $499, or a Lenovo laptop for only $349. 33 hours of savings this Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official brand perception report for doors and windows is in. Pella Windows and Doors are the leading brand among all others. A few reasons why. Pella is regarded as the highest quality, the most innovative, and the installers with Pella of Nashville lead the way for attention to detail. That's why Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is one of Pella's top locations in the country. For new doors or windows, I suggest you choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaNashville.com Nashville.com.
Hey, what's up? It's Chase McCabe here for Superbook Sports. Football season is right around the corner, and now is the time to place your preseason bets with Superbook right here in Tennessee. Superbook is the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use my promo code CHASE to score up to $250 with your first bet bonus. Win or lose, they will match your first bet up to $250 simply by dropping my name, Chase, C-H-A-S-E, in the promo code. Will Tennessee win the division this year? Who is your pick for MVP? And which team will win it all in February? Don't sit on the sidelines. Win money this season with Superbook Sports. Just download the Superbook Tennessee app or visit superbook.com to place your wagers today. Football, a $250 first bet bonus simply by using Chase in the promo code slot will make you do your own touchdown dance this season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Summer's winding down, and now's a perfect time to dial up your back-to-school plans. Lincoln Tech's NADC offers hands-on training programs in fields like auto and diesel technology, heavy equipment maintenance, and welding that last about a year. Enroll now for August classes at their Nashville campus, and by next summer, you could be starting a rewarding new career. To help finance your future, Lincoln is awarding nearly $20 million in scholarships and grants to students of all ages. Visit lincolntech.edu today for info and to schedule a campus tour.
Check. You might already know about the Acura MDX. V6 engine, seat 7. We have an announcement. We swapped that engine with a specially made 3-liter turbo V6, race-tuned the steering and suspension, and for the first time, added Type S performance to an SUV. So we're just gonna drop this right here. The Acura MDX and first ever MDX Type S. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Experience the thrill at Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of the Nashville Predators. TennesseeAcura.com.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Can you remember too many preseasons where the defense has been consistently good? It's been now for a few weeks.
I don't know just right off the top of the head, but our linebackers has really made plays. And, obviously on the back end, something we really take pride in as a defense is being aggressive and competitive. And so, like I said, just putting all three and marrying all three together is going to be big for us, obviously, going into the season.
That was KB today after practice talking about the defense. Now, Gentry asked the question. He was watching defense with me, TD. We were talking about, man, they are just, I don't even see Justin Jefferson out here the way the defense was playing. I know that they picked off Kirk Cousins in the 2-minute drill. They picked him off in 7-on-7. Azeez Al-Shire having the pick. And a lot of these interceptions had been tip balls in the air in which somebody else comes down with it. I thought the defense was excellent today. There were running plays, a couple of them where Rashad Weaver was in the backfield. They had a running play where Danico Autry popped Alexander Madison about 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah?
I thought it might have started a fight. Not because of how Autry popped him, though they don't like getting popped in practice, but the fact that I think the embarrassment coupled with the pop was then usually what would lead to a little, but there wasn't. So I thought the Titans' defense was fabulous today in what I watched, and then as soon as the Treylon Burks thing happened, it was like a dark cloud came over practice. But defense, we talked about how they were dominating the offense in training camp, and that I kept feeling like, okay, we'll see when they come out here if they keep dominating. Now, Jordan Addison wasn't out there today for the Vikings. TJ Hawkinson wasn't out there today for the Vikings. But I was like, we'll see, when they play somebody else, what it means. And it did translate over, which I was very impressed with. What'd you see on the offensive side of the field?
Yeah, I think offensively, so just looking at some of the notes here, and I just kind of – so one-on-ones were tough. I don't know how things went over there for the Titans DBs, but it was definitely advantage Vikings DBs, which is normally not the situation in one-on-ones. Sure. But like Ryan Tannehill said, you got 20 to 30-mile-an-hour winds. Typically in one-on-one situations, there's not that much separation because it's just routes. Like you can't scheme it to create it. And it was a tough period for them. DeAndre Hopkins opened it up. He had a nice reception, a back shoulder against Mekhi Beckman. That was impressive. And then Chig Okonkwo beat Harrison Smith, and that's doing a lot when you're beating one of the best safeties in the game. But after that, it just started to get a little shaky. I think when you also look at the one-on-ones for O-line, D-line, Daniel Hunter, he was too much for Chris Hubbard. They kept matching up, and that speed off the edge, it was tough. But I will say Aaron Brewer held his own against a couple bull rushes. Then he moved into 7-on-7, and there were multiple plays where it was just had to be shut down because the defense was all over it like that. But all of a sudden, some just clicked. And Tannehill hit Kyle Phillips, on a couple short passes. And then he hit Hopkins as well. But Malik Willis came in, and let me tell you, Malik Willis was cooking. He was really, really good in 7-on-7. He had 4 reps. He completed all 4 of them. The first 2 were short passes. Then he hit Colton Dow, and I smiled because, I talked to his parents. They were on our flight going to Chicago, and his dad was like, man, my boy got to make some plays. So, I'm smiling just, through him, hey, your boy made a play. It was a beautiful pass by Willis to Dow. He caught it right in stride, took off for the touchdown. And then the next play, Kearis Jackson on a out-breaking route, he hit him right in stride too. So you had those. And then 4 for 4 in team period. Now, when Burks went down, I went black as far as watching
That's
practice
how I
for
felt,
a bit.
yeah.
Because it's
everybody
okay.
was in scramble mode of what just happened. I mean, I don't want to compare this to the Kennedy assassination, but I've watched a lot of history on the Kennedy assassination lately, and in it, I listened to the story of the people that were working in the press, for NBC and for UPI and for CBS, and how they immediately, they shot into action about. Now we need to follow the book depository, and we've got to get somebody over there to the hospital, and we've got, Walter Cronkite's calling in. And that's how I felt when the Burks thing happened, was everybody was scrambling, oh, my God, what's happening? I left practice early to come up here to talk to the midday show about what happened over there.
Right,
so I think everybody was a little bit in a scramble mode. And the one thing that I will say is that after the Burks injury, I turned over because – the way football practice works, you've been doing this for 15 years or however long you've been doing it. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Tom Brady who gets hurt in practice.
You
it's
get
him off the field and get the next
moving.
guy in there and let's go. Yeah. And I turned around and I saw the offense, and Nick Westbrook-Akina was at that outside wide receiver position with Tannehill. And I don't mean to say this is a knock on Nick Westbrook-Akina kind of thing.
It's different.
But this is what the whole great thing about signing DeAndre Hopkins was that it moved everybody into the position to where they needed to be.
And now you got guys getting pushed back up,
It's there they go again back to the Steeler game where he's throwing to Racey McMath and Nick Westbrook-Akina, and that's, not good for the team.
Right. Well, instead of Walter Cronkite calling, it was me calling. I called the news desk and made sure that we got everything set for the news, and we got that done. While I was doing that, I missed a bit of Tannehill's team period, but I did see Malik Willis, and he came back. He was 4 for 4 again. And they were blitzing. There was one time where they blitzed Tannehill, and Tannehill had a nice completion. I'm trying to see who that was to. Look, I'm not going to go back through my notes and try to find it, but it was a pass across the middle. Perfect, and he checked to it. He checked to it because he saw the blitz. He saw how the mic was playing, and he saw where the numbers to Chris Moore. It came back to me. He saw where everything opened up, and he, shifted to protection, knew it was going to be middle of the field. Boom, hit him. And then Malik Willis had a couple nice throws off of play action. Reggie Robertson, he hit him. It was a beautiful throw.
By the way, you were at the Chicago game, so you missed this because you weren't watching on TV. It's Roberson now.
Roberson. So it's Roberson.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was.
No, wait, that's what I was saying. I was saying Roberson, and I thought they flipped it to Robertson.
And then they told us all that it was Roberson. And then on the TV broadcast on News 2, Charles Davis and Paul Burmeister said it's Roberson.
Okay.
And they were like, for everybody who was watching last year, he told us today that it's Roberson.
Roberson. Okay, so Reggie Roberson, number 80.
You know what?
Made
now what's going to happen is when you go to say that, you'll be like, wait a minute.
Which one is it?
Yeah,
because that's exactly what I just did. So, nevertheless, he had a catch there. He was 4 for 4, like I said, and there were 2 times against the blitz. Like the one time they sent a safety, and the safety was screaming down, changed the trajectory, and got it to Kinsey on a short route. And then the other time they converted the hot route, the hot read, and they made that happen. So I think overall the offense looked good. 2-minute drill was I forget what happened at the end of Willis's drill. I think they made a field goal.
I think they ran out of time.
They ran out of time. You're right.
Willis got sacked with no timeouts.
That's what exactly. And then for Tannehill's, they got in position for a 55-yard field goal, and Shudak was short. So that's what happened there. But special teams wise, that's something we could get into. The kickers, I have their kicks, their attempts, but
I've already moved on from both guys. Like I know that.
Yeah, I heard you saying that the other day that you kind of.
I mean, they need somebody to kick the rest of training camp before they go out and sign somebody before the first game. But as far as I'm concerned, I mean, unless these guys come out here on Saturday and start making 62-yarders, I don't think that they can win their way back onto the. I think they're both off the team.
They're frustrating misses too. That's the thing. Like so, Shudak, I think it was 44 yards out. He hit the left upright, and then there was another one that was wide left. Trey Wolf missed one as well. I think it was 48 yards. But these are kicks. I mean, look. The Giants game, the season opener.
Yeah, 47 yards. That's a makeable NFL kick.
You got it. Like at this point now, like 47 yards is like what 37 yards used to be.
Yeah, like a 52-yard kick is a makeable kick in the National Football League that you should be able to trust your kicker to make.
Exactly. It's expected, and that's when you got guys like Justin Tucker in the league. I mean, Justin Tucker. I saw him in practice, and I say it every time. I saw him hit 70-yard field goal. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I've seen him do it. So it's just like. When you have that cheat code to where all you got to do is get to the opponent's 35 and you could more than likely put 3 points on the board, that's really good. And that's something that this team does not have. And this is a team that is always in close games. So you have to be able to find and claw and scratch and be able to find some way to get those extra points there. Whereas that 3 points, instead of it being nothing, at least you've got something on the board. Points are a premium with this team and how they play.
I've made up my mind on the kickers that it doesn't even bother me that they missed. You know what I mean?
Really?
Like, because I just don't think they're going to be on the team.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's the point of being all worked up one way or another? We did get some text messages earlier today. You know, I'm sitting here freaking out about Burks and talking about how it ruined what was a great day for the defense from my vantage point. Mm-hmm. And then say, people want to know how Levis did. I didn't watch Levis because I was on the defensive field. How did Will Levis do?
Levis has some good throws, and I just continue to be impressed with him with the placement. And it's funny because he had one where he hit Gavin Holmes across the middle, and there was a defender in front of him and one behind him. And it was like Holmes could have – I described it this way. I'm talking with TD. I said, I could take my laptop and hold it up, and Levis would have been able to throw the ball through the screen. Like it was that well placement on that throw. And then there were a few others. He also was 4 for 4 on his 7-on-7 period. So, he's continuing to progress. He's working with a group of guys that probably won't be around, right, after roster cutdown, but he's still holding his own in that competition.
Texter says that it's unbelievable that I would compare the Traylon Burks knee injury to the Kennedy assassination. I was not comparing the two. I was comparing the media coverage. And the number one reason why I'm not comparing the two is because I was on the grassy knoll on the during the Burks injury. So I don't want I don't want anybody to start pointing fingers at me, any conspiracy theorists, to think that I had something to do with Traylon Burks' knee.
Oh, boy, you shaved that little part of grass right there where he stepped. Huh?
Exactly. 615-737-1025. We'll get to some more of your phones, 615-737-1025. Plus, again, the doctors have differing opinions as to what this might be with Traylon Burks. We'll get TD's thoughts on that. We'll do that next. Again, we're live from Titans and Vikings practices in Minnesota, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
All the big plays.
Rebound, try out in front, and Saros covers it up.
All the big stories.
Andrew Burnett reportedly hired as the next head coach of the Predators.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Comparing goalies to running backs.
46-27 Vanderbilt.
Does this group of players need more?
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life. Improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
Catch Nashville Sounds baseball tonight at First Horizon Park at 6:35 as the Nashville Sounds take on the Charlotte Knights. The first 1,000 fans will take home a Sounds travel blanket featuring historic Jefferson Street. Plus, play music bingo during the game for awesome prizes. Grab your tickets at NashvilleSounds.com.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen. Rounds, ovals, radiance, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit one per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
It is red hot in Music City.
On Wednesday, August 16th.
My God, listen to that.
AEW Dynamite and Rampage invade the Bridgestone Arena for a massive night of elite professional wrestling action in Nashville.
We have got a red hot show in store for you tonight.
Don't miss the AEW World Champion MJF.
I'm better than you.
Chris Jericho in the JAS.
I am the Wizard. I am the Ocho. I am Chris Jericho.
Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Dr. Britt Baker. John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, Wheeler Yuta, Chris Statlander, The Acclaim.
Everyone love!
The Outcasts, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, Ricky Starks, Adam Cole. Wardlow, Swerve, Hangman Page, Hook, Darby Allin, Sting.
This is Sting!
Nashville's own Jeff and Karen Jarrett, and all your favorite stars will be in action live.
Well, that's you.
Don't miss AEW's only Nashville appearance this year at the Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now. Go to AEWTix.com. Card subject to change.
He knows the ins and outs of the Titans and isn't afraid to give his opinion.
Traylon Burks needs a massive offseason.
He's Jonathan Hutton of Outkick.
I don't see how they make a move without going to Ryan Tannehill.
Catch him every Monday at 10:30 on Chase McCabe and every Wednesday at noon on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Hutton is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Greg McElroy, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
If you go on Twitter or the X, as they call it now, you can see video of Traylon running a deep post, making a really good catch.
Yeah, you can see the
high
video.
Point, and then he just goes down, and the way he looked, it doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good. He didn't want to put any pressure on that left leg at all. So whether it's a knee, an Achilles, or a quad, a calf muscle, whatever it is, it hurt him to the point where he didn't want to put any weight on that left side. So hopefully it's not as bad and that he will be able to come back sooner rather than later.
Derek saying, hey, hopefully it's not that bad and he can come back sooner rather than later. There on the program, TD with us at joint practices, Titans and Vikings. We both saw it. I mean, if you told me that, hey, Traylon Burks is out for 3 weeks, I would say, okay, I could see it. If you told me he was out for the year after seeing what I saw, the frustration when he fired the football down.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised by that either. I think a lot of us, when we see a player get carted off, or especially a really, really good player, when they get hurt the way that Burks got hurt, think normally like the natural reaction is probably to go to a worst case scenario. So we got what the doctors have had to say. This is Dr. David Chow, the pro football injury doc, who said that, quote, Burks does not appear to suffer an ACL tear or any similarly severe ligament injury, according to the video, according to our panel of doctors with past NFL experience. The more likely scenario is a bone bruise or a minor sprain resulting in a short-term absence. He will undergo an MRI to evaluate the damage, but the pro football docs are expecting good news from the MRI. And then it talks about how Burks had a history of knee injuries going all the way back to high school, but only missed one game in college at Arkansas. Now, the other doctor said that he thought it might be a hamstring issue or a meniscus, and then said that we can't rule out ACL, which I want to rule out ACL. But, again, these are facts. I want to know the truth about the knee, not what I want to hear about the knee.
Yeah. Didn't somebody tell you calf, too? They thought maybe it was a calf?
So I went to F45 this morning. Are you familiar with F45?
No.
It's like one of those chain workout class places or whatever. And so there's one right around the corner here that I went to this morning. Instead of working out at the hotel, I just figured work out at one of these classes, get it out of the way, get it done. And so I was, emailing with the people about taking a class here. And I was like, yeah, I'll be in town covering practice. And so the guy whose wife I was talking to, he was taking the class with me today. And he was actually at practice. And he was kind of standing where we were standing, with the VIPs. And he said that he thought it was the calf the way that Burks grabbed it. Now, I don't know what this guy does for a living. I have no idea. I mean, I kind of think he might own the F-45, but I'm not sure. He like all the F-45 gear, and his wife was the one I was talking to about. Yeah. So I'm thinking he might own it.
Probably something significant, yeah.
But he seemed like the kind of guy whose opinion I would trust on that.
And actually, now that you say that, when you motioned to how he was holding the leg, I remember seeing him, his hand was right, it was like right where like your calf and knee meet. So it could be a calf. I mean, there's so much speculation, but just the thing that makes me concerned that it might be severe is when I looked over and I saw Rand Carthon kneeling down talking to him, and he had both hands on his helmet. Like
talking about Burks?
Yeah, Burks had both hands on his head. And usually when you do that, like it's a dire situation. So hopefully for his case, it's not as bad as that, but that's something that I am curious about. But, I mean, we've gotten – because somebody said Achilles too. So, look, man, I just said left leg injury because that's what we know. It's hard to really point to any particular part of it.
Again, it's like the Kennedy assassination. Was it the school book depository? Was it the grassy knoll? Was it?
Oh, boy.
What is it here? Texter into the text line says, when the Titans passed on signing Brandon McManus this offseason, I threw in the towel at that point. The Titans don't value a kicker for whatever reason, and it's really frustrating as a fan. I think Jeff Fisher burnt everybody out on having a good kicker since all he wanted to do was kick field goals, and now Titan fans just don't seem to care.
I tell you what, for a team, like I said, that plays in so many close games, I would think that a premium would be placed on the kicker.
Especially after we've been doing this now for 3 years.
Yeah. Well, what the GM said, right? Once you get
on it. And he said that 2 years before he died, and he died 2 years ago this week.
And they still aren't off it, man.
Texter says, Burks will miss time. What is your best worst-case scenario for Burks to be back before it ruins the season? That comes from JP.
Ooh. So you figure open in New Orleans, then got the Chargers, and then, what is it, Cleveland?
Yeah, I think, and then Indianapolis, and then the London game, and then I believe that they're off.
The bye, yeah. The Saints, I don't think the Saints are going to be that good.
The Saints walked right down the field. Now, again, it's preseason, but that first team offense for the Saints just marched right down the field and scored a touchdown.
You see that first team defense out there?
Oh, no, I know.
So
I know. And Chris Jones is not playing for the Kansas City Chiefs right now.
So I think regardless, you want him to miss as little time as possible because you want him to get back on that momentum train that he's been on and have that rolling into the season. And that was the good thing about what he's been able to do and stacking those days. And I've kind of been tracking, like, okay, does he have 2 good days in a row and then 3? Like, how is that working? And he's, for the most part, hasn't had a single bad day of practice. And when I say bad day, I'm talking about a day where he hasn't flashed. We're like, oh, that's trailing. Oh, there he goes again. Every day, for the most part, that you've seen that.
I just would say this about Berkson so far in the training camp. The growth that I saw with the offseason and then into the OTAs and then into training camp, like I would write a letter of recommendation for Treylon Burks because I really felt like even though he hadn't done it on the football field to that point, I felt like I could trust him. Yeah. You know, that I knew that he would know the offense. I know that he'd be in sync with Tannehill. I know he'd be in shape. I know he'd be where he's supposed to be. And then this, like, even thinking about his injuries last year, like, yeah, the in-shape, asthma, you know, would it have been nice if he had been in great shape when he showed up? Now, I understand with all the travel that he had to do because he didn't know if he was going to go at the top of the first round or the bottom of the first round. But with all of that, you know, whatever. But, like, the concussion that he suffered in the Philadelphia game, like, that's not his fault.
I mean, he held on to that ball, too. Man.
I know, and he was knocked out cold.
Right.
Like, they probably had to put that salt in front of his nose to wake him up after he got hit.
You ever had it?
No, but I bet it's awful.
It's the worst, man.
I bet it's just awful,
yeah,
the way they talk about it. And then when you see guys do it, like when they're not knocked out, but they're like trying to get height or whatever, they're like, it's like,
it's terrible.
Oh, my goodness. And so like that wasn't his fault, but it's like, well, you know, the best ability in the NFL is availability.
There's context to everything.
And then so I felt like the injuries were behind him, and then he comes out here, and he made a tremendous catch. A lot of guys wouldn't have gotten hurt on that play because they wouldn't have been able to get up and get the ball the way he went up to go get the ball, and that's what makes it even more frustrating.
Yeah. It's like the gift and the curse. The ability to chase down something like that and keep your balance enough to where you could somersault into the end zone, just practicing that nose for the end zone, and he got hurt doing it. You hate to see it. But
Texter says, is there usually a precedent for how long it takes before the team gives us an update on Treylon Burks' status? You know this, Coach?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look, I put out a couple of messages. We'll see. I don't think – and you still have to get the MRI and get the results from that still too. So I wouldn't expect to know anything till Friday, honestly.
Normally the only way that we'll find out anything like that is if the agent tells, Ian Rappaport. Or
I forget who his agent is.
I think he's got like kind of a local Arkansas guy. I don't think he's got like a big-time agent.
Huh.
I think it's more of like kind of the boutique approach.
Which is – yeah, I respect that.
No, I mean, a lot of guys have made a lot of money off of having, you know, one guy that worries about them all the time as opposed to somebody that's got a bunch of clients. But the other thing I would argue, if it's kind of a like local guy or a guy that doesn't have a ton of experience with this, is that when Vrabel says things like, I don't want anybody talking to the media, that it's like, well, you know, Coach Vrabel doesn't want us talking to the media. Whereas, like, you're not going to tell, like, a Drew Rosenhaus or a Todd France or a Tory Dandy. You're not going to go to Tory Dandy and say, hey, man, don't talk to the media. You know what I mean?
Tory Dandy. Tory's cool as heck, man.
Yeah.
Good dude.
Yeah, well, I think Tory, I don't think John Robinson probably feels the same way about Tory Dandy.
No.
If I had to take a guess about that. More of your phone, 615-737-1025 here on the program. Again, more talking about practice between the Titans and the Vikings. I do feel like the Titans won on defense. What did TD think about offense for the day? Who won it one way or another? We'll do that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Play ball! 94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series at First Horizon Park against Charlotte. He gloves, grabs, guns, gets them, and the Sounds win again. Pre-game at 6:20.
Nashville Sounds baseball on 94.9 The Fan and the Fan app.
We buy any card. Why sell your card? WeBuyAnyCar.com? Because selling it yourself can be, well, you know.
Okay, I'll give you half now.
And?
No, and just half.
What?
Avoid the hassle. Come to We Buy Any Car instead. Get in, get out, and get paid at a fair price.
Yeah, I can't do half.
I could probably bump it up to like 50%.
Just go.
Okay.
Get your free online valuation now at
WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Don't miss a minute of football action while getting up close and personal to the future stars of the PGA Tour. Join Penn Entertainment on site at the Simmons Bank Open, promoting Pin Play and their sports online betting platform. Stop by their tent in the Arctic Tailgate Village during the tournament to learn more and have a chance to win some prizes and giveaways. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call Tennessee Redline 1-800-899-9789.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hey y'all, it's Courtney with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Warmer months have you working overtime? Be sure to visit Parman Tractor and Equipment for all your New Holland tractor and bush hog needs. Swing by our store at 3570 Dickerson Pike in North Nashville or give our sales team a call. We're now offering 0% financing for 72 months on select New Holland tractors. Get the brands you trust from a local dealer like Parman, always ensuring totally outrageous customer service. Visit ParmanTractor.com for the best deals on equipment, New Holland tractor, bush hog, and more.
Hey, are you seeking relief? Maybe you just want to enhance your day or night. Did you know there are legal THC products available right here in Tennessee? Yeah, really. You can have legal THC products shipped directly to the comfort of your home. Yes, comfort in cannabis is only a website away. Visit greentreescompany.com. That's Green Trees with a Z, and change your life today.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Junie Riddle,
The guy that can come in and give us some good goal-scoring production.
and Nick Keiser.
Another guy that I thought was interesting that got a one-year deal.
Each Saturday morning at 9, it's Riddle and the Reporter on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Yeah, like I said, I felt like we didn't come out and start the way we wanted to start, and guys were battling, but it just wasn't consistent enough. Not just the offensive line, but just overall. So, got to be able to come out and be better. I think these are great opportunities. I've been a part of a lot of these over the years, and you want to take advantage of these, but not read it too much into them. I think back to 2015. I was with Miami. We went to Carolina. Practiced to them 2 days. Felt like, we had really good practices, kind of dominated those practices. And we fired a coach after week 4, and they went 15-1 into the Super Bowl. So, take it for what it is. It's an opportunity to come out here, work, see a different scheme, see different players with different skill sets than we're seeing every day. But just keep our head down, keep grinding, learn from what we did, and, keep the foot on the gas and keep going.
I don't find Tannehill at times to be the most insightful person, but when he brings up that 2015, because I saw that 2015 Dolphins team. Now, they came in here and beat the crap out of the Titans, but that was Wisenhunt, but I saw that 2015 Dolphins team, and I saw that 2015 Panthers team, and to think that Dolphins team dominated that Panthers team in practices does kind of put it a little bit in perspective, TD, about just – how important this might be or who won what or who did. So I watched defense. I thought Titans defense won the day. I thought they handled the Vikings pretty easily in both 7-on-7 and 11-on-11. I don't care about the backups and things like this. Talking about starting 11s versus each other. if you had to say who won between the Titans offense and the Vikings defense, how would you handicap it?
I would probably say even, honestly, because there were some deep throws that they were able to get. They tried to run some, and that there wasn't really much space up front there for Derrick Henry. Tajay Spears had a nice run. He ran to the left, and he broke like a little bit of contact and sprinted away. I would say it was even. And what stood out to me, though, was how much movement the Vikings safeties have pre-snap, and also how much they blitz Harrison Smith.
Mm-hmm.
That dude comes off the edge, whether it's the left side or right side, a whole heck of a lot. Now, there were a couple times where the Titans formation dictated what side that he was going to come from, so he would break and start on this side but then go over to the other side because it was a more favorable situation. But regardless, the safeties there's so much movement. And I thought Tannehill did a good job of checking out of things. There were a couple times where I saw him pick up that safety coming, looked over at where the safety was coming from, made the check, and went right to the middle of the field, which is typically what is vacated when your safeties blitz and in those blitzing situations. So it was a good cat and mouse game, but I think it was even.
If it were even and the Titans defense dominated, then I almost feel like we'll have to side. I mean, the Titans in the 2-minute, the first team picked off Kirk Cousins, and the first team offense kicked a field goal that they missed. But again, these kickers, are these really first team kickers for the Titans? Will they be the Titans first team kickers week 1? I'm guessing I have to say Titans probably won today.
I could see that. I will say this though. Punt team, that darn punter did you see those punts he was making?
No, for the Vikings.
Man, listen, those things were traveling like 60 yards. I left my roster in my bag. They were traveling like 60, some of them 65 yards.
Do they have a new punter?
He's out of Tulane. I remember seeing Tulane. I don't remember. No, he's number 14. I don't know if he's new or not, but this dude with the hang time was crazy. He made Kyle Phillips drop one because that thing was just in it. But listen, I get it. That thing was in the air forever. I mean, forever. And he dropped it. But he fielded everything else cleanly. Gavin Holmes was back there, too. Mason Kinsey, as well as Eric Garror. So they have some guys back there punt. But I wanted to look at that side of things also because, that's an important factor as well, the special team.
I think Mason Kinsey's best chance of making the team. Now, I think he'll be on the practice squad if he doesn't make the team. But I think his best chance of making the team is to have Kyle Phillips drop as many punts as possible so that the Titans can't put Phillips back there, and then they have to have Kinsey on the roster because they have to have somebody that can catch punts. And I got to tell you, after what happened at the Rand Carthon introductory press conference between me and Vrabel over Craig Aukerman, if they can't catch punts to start the season, I mean, don't even worry about tuning in at 2 o'clock. I mean, don't even.
That go.
Well, if you're going to sit there and act like I'm a jackass because I'm asking you about the special teams that are never any good, and then you say, Rand, please get us some returners, and then you send the same people out there and they fumble it again, I'm going to go crazy.
Eric Garror is new.
Hey, Eric Garror's got some game, though, by the way.
Well, see,
I was disappointed because in the one-on-ones, he was kind of getting worked a little bit, and I'm like.
Well, one-on-one is for the receiver.
I know.
It's for the receiver. But I would say this, Eric Garror, so I thought Chris Jackson was going to be like the 6th DB, to make the roster.
They ran him out of here.
He's gone. Eric Garror, though, is a guy I could see making, and that gives you another punt return. See, the thing with Mason Kinsey is, you love the character. You love what he brings, the toughness, pretty solid catching the ball and those things. But returning, if you're going to have a guy on the roster because he returns punts, he better be, like my guy Dante Hall from the Chiefs. You better be a legit difference maker. Devin Hester to have a Cordero Patterson for a bit when he was until he got better with the Falcons. But you better be a difference maker at that position to be on the roster as a returner only.
Texter says, TD, do you think that we should all be worried that the injuries are going to be a problem again this season like they were the last two after Burke slowed up?
I mean, look, I don't know that the Burks situation, what happened there, has any bearing on how this team handles injuries.
Now, some players are going to get hurt.
Yeah, you're going to have injuries. players are going to get hurt. Like you said, they already had, casualty number one, Shaquille Brown, on IR. I don't think that they're going to have 89 different guys rostered on game day, but it's always going to be high because of that, the way they play.
I just don't think that there's any way that one team can have such bad luck 3 years in a row.
That too.
I mean, just like the odds, if I had to guess about it.
Well, we're about to see over the next couple of days.
Oh, we will learn over. By the way, was it just me, or was Monty Rice not out there today? What's up with Monty?
I saw Monty Rice before practice. I thought he was going to be out there, but come to think of it, I don't remember seeing him. Danico Autry left early, as did Luke Gifford. Obviously Burks. Colton Dowd.
Well, they don't even need to practice Danico Autry anymore. Like, you just get him for New Orleans.
Did you know that he's a daggone goon, man?
Yeah, you could tell Danico, like, take the rest of camp off and then just show up.
He's legit.
Like, if Danico was holding out, like if he was one of these franchise tag players and he was like, I'm not going to show up till the start of the season, that's
no
fine.
problem. We'll see you in September.
I think that's part of the reason why the Chiefs feel about Chris Jones is, like, not only are they going to get like $1 million back because of how much he's getting fined, but also it's like, well, we know Chris Jones will be fine.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about Danico Autry. But it didn't look bad for Danico, did it?
No, he was walking off, and I remember just hearing him ask about, what trainers or if a doctor was going to be in the locker room. But it wasn't like in a training room. But he was perfectly all right walking off. Like, no
Danico, we have no doctor for you today because Traylon Burks is the priority here. And if you can suck it up for 5 minutes, that'd be nice. I do wonder, though, when it comes to the Titans and the injury bug and everything else, like, it does feel like they took a lot of steps in that direction this offseason that we talk about it being bad luck, that they're trying to take luck out of it as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And I'm still worried that it's still going to be,
You know who's been out here every week and taking pounding after pounding and every day? Well, Derek, but the guy behind him, Tajay Spears.
That he slipped up on that carpet the other day, and I was like,
no,
not after he finally showed exactly why they drafted him the other night. So I made a horrendous decision, and it was a decision more so than it was a mistake. It was a horrendous decision. I knew TD was going to be here with us for these days, and there is a little piece that goes on right here that allows so that there is another set of headphones. And I looked at that piece when I was packing up to leave, and I was like, I don't need that. And so I didn't take it. So TD can't hear. But I've come up with what I think might be the solution for this. We're going to try it. And I think it'll work because TD will be a part of Jared versus Joe, which means we will argue with Joe coming up next. And I know that TD listens to this segment, and normally I don't think TD's on my side all the time during Jared versus Joe. And so he will be a part.
I text you when I am on your side.
That is true, but you text Joe, it feels like every time. That's the problem. So we'll do Jared versus Joe next, live from Vikings training camp. We'll also recap what happened with Traylon Burks today at practice. Again, that's the big story. Traylon Burks carted off with a left leg injury. We can say left leg, right? It was the left leg.
Yeah, left leg for sure.
Left leg injury. He caught a pass after smoking the DB, catches the ball, comes down with the ball, gets up, can't put weight on the left foot, walks around for a little bit with Kyle Phillips, and then fires the football down in anger before ultimately being taken off the field, not on his own power. Later, they had to help him up onto the cart. He got carted off, and so we'll be following that as well. Stillman and Company, live from Vikings practice, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Whether it's college football,
players might end up not going to Alabama or Georgia,
or the NFL.
I think that this team wins the AFC South.
Trevor knows. Join ESPN's Trevor Maddich every Tuesday at 4:30 on Stillman and Company as he gives his opinions on the latest from the gridiron.
I'm going to the team where I can get a ring.
Trevor Maddich brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters, on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official brand perception report for doors and windows is in. Pella Windows and Doors are the leading brand among all others. A few reasons why. Pella is regarded as the highest quality, the most innovative, and the installers with Pella of Nashville lead the way for attention to detail. That's why Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is one of Pella's top locations in the country. For new doors or windows, I suggest you choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaNashville.com.
Hey home buyers, TJ Anderson here. Are you looking for a luxury home on over an acre, 7 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, and close to 7,000 square feet? 6551 Brownlee Drive in Nashville's Westmead neighborhood offers that and a 4th car garage, all by an award-winning builder. Text the number 1 to 615-420-2377 for pricing and info. Want your home on the radio? Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred by clients so often. TJ Anderson Homes at Benchmark Realty, office number 615-432-2919.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
Our fleet vehicle program is a great benefit to all the fleet companies in Nashville. We are able to get their vehicle back on the road a lot quicker than the downtime of most dealers and most general repair shops, simply because we have the transmissions available. We're able to put priority on their vehicles to get them back on the road quickly.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
Lebanon now has a new Dunkin' store, and the game invites you to join us this Friday morning for their grand opening at 350 Highway 109 North in Lebanon. We will be there with great giveaways and free stuff. That's this Friday morning at the new Next Gen Dunkin' in Lebanon.
I'm David James, and this is your Game Center Update. The Nashville Sounds lost 7-3 last night to the Charlotte Knights. They hope to get in the win column tonight. Pre-game starts at 6:20 on 94.9 The Fan. The Tennessee Titans are at Minnesota for joint practices, and wide receiver Traylon Burks gets carted off with a non-contact injury. No update as of right now. Here's Kevin Byard on Burks.
Yeah, it's very concerning. Obviously, we don't know the severity or nothing's confirmed yet, but obviously I heard about it when we kind of went to special teams, and obviously praying for him, hoping that everything is going well. But he's a big part of what we do as an offense and as a team, so obviously you want everything to be okay.
Nashville SC will face Lionel Messi and Inter Miami Saturday night at 8 p.m. at Geodis Park. This is your Game Center Update. I'm David James on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 1025 and 1063.
79-52 Vanderbilt.
And I think he's going to coach
up by Cheryl.
You're going to see more moves. The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 1025, 1063 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios here at Vikings Titans practices, the joint practices at TCO Stadium. this wonderful facility out here. TD's with me out here in Minnesota. And again, before we get to Jared versus Joe, we've got the big news of the day. And the big news of the day, Traylon Burks carted off the field at practice. Now, the online Twitter doctors tell us that it's most likely not an ACL, but how much can we believe the online Twitter doctors is probably a different question for a different day. But it is 5 o'clock on a Wednesday, which means, of course, Jared versus Joe. Caroline is here. Hello, Caroline.
Hello. How we doing?
Outstanding. TD, can you hear her?
I got her. Yes, sir.
All right.
Hey,
I
TD,
figured
looking great over there.
I figured we are trying out something that I didn't even think of, didn't even know would work. Joe is with us, as always, on a Jared versus Joe. Joe, how are you?
Great.
Could you hear him?
I got you.
All right, great. Let's do it. Let's go Jared versus Joe.
Jared Stillman versus Joe Rexroad. Now on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Jared versus Joe is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville and Parman Tractor and Equipment. Get your New Holland tractors and bush hogs today. Caroline, start us off.
All right, Jared, you go first for this one. How screwed are the Titans if Traylon Burks is hurt?
How hurt?
Achilles.
Oh, they're screwed. I mean, I said this earlier today, and I was like, you know what? Let's just say that it was worst case scenario and that they knew right away, like out for the year, that I might as well just pack up and go home because the season is over if Traylon Burks is out for it. There's like,
okay, what if it's a calf?
How long's he out for?
3 to 5 games.
Ooh. I mean, that'd be tough. I mean, it'd be hard to win without Burks, but, you know, with Hopkins in there, I think they could kind of hold their own a little bit until they get Burks back. And, I mean, for this team to be a contender, I think that they need Burks, Hopkins, and Okonkwo, and they all need to play well. And one of those three guys getting hurt, they're totally screwed. So, I mean, I'll just tell you, my initial reaction when I was on the defensive hill with Gentry Estes and I saw Burks come down and fire the football down in disgust was, oh, they're screwed. Oh, they're screwed. And, I mean, just if it's bad, like bad, and again, knock on wood that it's not, and the Twitter doctors are telling us that it's not. If that's the case, if it's bad, if he's injured bad, then, I mean, we might need to see if D. Mace or Chris Sanders will come out of retirement because it'll be basically what it was last year. Although with DeAndre, which will help, but I mean, I think DeAndre is the volume guy for this team to catch a bunch of, big passes. Burks is the take the top off the defense, big play kind of guy.
He's the gasher.
Yes. And so, I mean, I think this team has the potential to be really good, especially with what I saw out of the defense today. But, I mean, they need Traylon Burks.
You know how much better I feel about the Twitter doctors saying it's not that bad?
You got to feel a little bit better.
Not at all. Why would I feel a little bit better about people on Twitter?
Do you care about the Twitter doctors?
No. Diagnosing from a video? Come on, man.
Joe?
I defer to Stefania Bell.
There it is.
So,
I text her, too.
Let me ask this on the Twitter doctors because I haven't seen like Dr. David Chow. Has he weighed in on this? Because I know sometimes he's right.
So he and his panel of experts have said not an ACL. It might be a hamstring or a meniscus, or we can't rule out the ACL, but he snuck that in there at the very end like a disclaimer.
Nice. Yeah, look, if he's out, they're pretty close to screwed. Now, look, does that mean there's zero chance this team without Traylon Burks, with everything else they have, and if a lot of things break their way, that they couldn't win the AFC South still? No, I would not eliminate that as a possibility. But I think you use the word contender, Jared. I mean, to me, this team having a chance in January to do anything, I think Traylon Burks is a big part of that. He's a big part of that hope, the idea that he's about to mature into this real difference maker of a receiver. And I just struggle to see. And again, the biggest question is still the offensive line. When you take that away for the season or most of the season, man, that hurts everyone. It makes it tougher for everyone. So they'd be in deep trouble without him. If it's 3 to 5 weeks, the thing about that is the toughest part of the schedule is early. Like, they got to survive the early part of the schedule, and be okay, be around 500 after 6 games, and I think they'd be in good shape. But it makes that a lot tougher, even if it's just those are the games that he misses.
I would agree with that. The thing I feel, though, is that the defense may be able to carry them through that early stretch.
I think they'll still be competitive. Championship, I'm not going to say that. But I do still think they'll be competitive. 'Cause this team they're just able to find a way.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. They got the number 1 seed 9 games without Derrick Henry.
Although,
yeah,
the games without AJ and Derrick, both, those were hard to watch.
Well, yeah.
And hard for them to get through. Like that Patriots
game. You have your
game
top
was
2 options. It's going to be tougher.
Their defense is going to keep them in most games. I mean, I still believe that. So, but it's like the one or two plays, that AJ would make a lot for this team that you don't even have as an option if he's out.
By the way, there's something about the defense that I want to tell everybody, but I can't tell them. Like, it's one of those banned things that happens at practice. But this was kind of an open practice, right? So I can say it. I mean, the Vikings had like 20,000 fans out there today.
Forgiveness, not permission.
If it's scheme related, you probably have to stay away, but
it's where somebody was lining up.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Oh, God, I want to. Caroline, what's next?
All right, who is the leader in the clubhouse for the backup quarterback position after what we saw on Saturday? Joe, you go first.
Yeah, Malik Willis is the backup quarterback right now, so I have to say he's the leader in the clubhouse. Now, I think Will Levis has a real chance here to make a run at that. I'm certainly keeping an open mind on that. I thought really for what the Titans need from those guys this year, I thought that Saturday was more good than bad for sure for both of them. But right now, Malik Willis is QB2. So I can't put Levis ahead of him based on projecting what Levis might do in coming weeks. And although I think Tim Hasselbeck, may have been a little harsh on the, labeling Levis like the disappointment of the rookie quarterbacks this weekend, I do agree that, there's no guarantee that situation or situations like that are going to be there for him in the next 2 preseason games. And so you really want to take advantage of those opportunities. But I think he's close. I think it's going to be really interesting. And right now, Willis is the guy.
So I believe that the tie goes to Levis just because, he was taken in the second round.
You believe it's a tie?
Not right now.
Oh, okay.
But I do believe that I think it's close. And if it is a tie, I think the tie goes to Levis. I have Levis ahead of Willis right now, but I didn't see Willis today. And a good day from Willis today, the way that you were saying that he performed today, that might be enough to push it over the top. The thing about Levis versus Willis is that in the game on Saturday, the best stuff happened with Malik Willis. But the worst stuff also happened with Malik Willis, like the interception on the ball to Wiley. Like, that's a got-to-have-it throw. It's wide open. You got to put that ball down in the numbers. And instead, it ends up being a plus opportunity turnover. And even the delay of game, which I understand why, they come out of the review and then he gets put at the line of scrimmage and he's, but he's got to look at that clock and he's got to turn around to the referee and, say, hey, reset that play clock. And if the referee won't do it, then he's got to call timeout. And those are just the little nuanced things there. I thought that Levis's play at the end of the game in which he didn't connect with Gavin Holmes, I thought that was like one of those special talent plays that shows that with just a little bit more experience and a little bit coaching that Levis can maybe take that step a little bit. I mean, I thought after Saturday that Levis had a slight lead on Willis.
After Saturday?
I did. Just because, again, the bad of Willis was – I'm thinking about if something happens to Tannehill in the middle of a game and somebody goes out there, the bad of Willis was – I mean, I charted like good and bad, and I think Willis was 7 positives, 5 negatives. Levis was 6 positives, 5 negatives. I mean, it was close. But the bad with Willis was bad. And so I would go after Saturday with Levis. But if Willis had the day that you were talking about and that Paul was talking about today that he had, then that might be enough to push Willis over the top for me.
I'm undoubtedly going with Willis right now. I understand what you're saying about the bad and the good, but I think Willis is ahead even in the operation. Even looking today, you saw multiple times. Like I said, they were blitzing, and before the snap, like you saw Willis just recognizing the mic point, like where he was, where the safeties were, and then you see him check. And here it was, they're checking to a good play, and it worked. I think that's important to notice too. And for Willis, my thing is this. It's not always a play he makes or doesn't make, stat-wise. There were multiple times where I've seen him have his heart on throwing somewhere. It's not there. He tucks it, recoils, and works through his progressions, and then runs. And then throws it away.
Well, like the scramble that he had that set up the first touchdown.
Right. That's an example to where he was able to roll out and make that throw. I think that's a big part of his progression too.
Joe, how close do you think it is?
Yeah, I think it's close. I do think it's close. And, I understand. I think those are good points by TD from today. It's close, but, I know if the coaches thought that, that Levis was ahead, I think Levis would be getting the 2 reps and Willis would be getting the 3 reps, right? And at some point, that may flip, but right now I think Willis is just a little bit better.
Do you guys think, and I say no, I believe that Vrabel will play whoever is the best. And I think all 3 are going to make the team, and I think we can all agree on that. But I think Vrabel will play whoever is the best as the backup. But there is a sense of belief that, well, this GM drafted Will Levis and didn't draft Malik Willis, so he would put Levis ahead of Willis.
Trevor Maddox said yesterday.
Rand would do that?
I
don't think so.
Just like the organization, because now Vrabel's also, kind of on the hook for these picks too.
Him not being the starter, or the backup this year, that's no bad thing for him.
So I agree with you on that, but that's not how it's going to be perceived.
Well,
last
time I checked, none of those guys in the building care how it is.
But Trevor Maddox said that yesterday.
That's kind of a Jared take, isn't it?
It was a Paul Kaharski take on your program, and you didn't push back against it.
But wait, tell me what Paul said.
He said that it would be a failure or a disappointment, or I forget the exact word he used. But he said one of those 2 words.
Saying,
if Levis,
that's fine. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the take that the Titans would give somebody a job that he didn't earn because of perception. That's like the crap you were saying last year about Dylan Radins. Oh, he's not even an NFL player, but they drafted him, so they'll fake keep him on the team. Come on, man. No.
I do got to stand.
If Malik Willis is QB2, it's because he's been better than Will Levis.
Yeah.
All right, more Jared versus Joe on the other side, including for the soccer people, Messi. I heard somebody text in saying that Joe was talking about the most famous people to ever come to Nashville, and somebody said the Bee Gees, and Joe said, "Oh, the Bee Gees," and I almost ran my car off the road laughing so hard. We'll do that next here on the program. Hey, the FanDuel Sportsbook's my official sportsbook app. The baseball season is headed into the back stretch, so you can get in on all the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's $1,000 back in bonus bets. If your first bet doesn't win, just go to FanDuel.com/JGM to join today. So don't miss your chance to get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join with FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com/JGM to sign up. I've told you guys, bet the Braves, bet the Braves, bet the Braves, and now I've got another thing. Bet against the Yankees. They stink. They're terrible. Bet against the Yankees. FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager. Only $10 deposit required. Refund issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Here we go, in and out of the huddle.
Training camp is underway in the Music City.
We want to try to make sure that we're developing a team.
And we have you covered.
Could Peter Skoronsky be an option at tackle?
How quickly can DeAndre Hopkins get going?
We'll be broadcasting live from training camp with the latest news and storylines from practice.
Ryan Tannehill, in the last year of a contract, it's a different team, it's a different roster.
Training camp coverage is brought to you by the Simmons Bank Open, Caudill Vet Clinic, and Parman Energy on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We buy any car. Why sell your car at WeBuyAnyCar.com? Because when you trade in, you're dealing with a dealer. And sure, they're interested in a good deal. For them, not for you. Come to WeBuyAnyCar.com instead. All we do is buy cars. You get in, get out, and get paid at a fair price. So don't take chances with a trade-in. Go to WeBuyAnyCar.com for a free online valuation. Find out how much your car's worth at WeBuyAnyCar.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen. Rounds, ovals, radiance, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit one per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
Do reward. Just desserts. Special day. Payoff. Just because. Whatever your reasons, it's time to visit the spa.
Mocara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Now offering outdoor yoga 9 a.m. every Saturday through September 2nd on the spa terrace. Book any treatment and get complimentary valet parking and access to the rooftop pool with incredible views of the Music City skyline. Mocara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Inner Zen, outer beauty.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Jared Stillman versus Joe Rexroad. Now on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game.
Jared versus Joe is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville and Parman Tractor and Equipment. Get your New Holland tractors and bush hogs today. Special guest TD is with us live out of Vikings Titans practice. I keep wanting just to say Vikings practice, but it is Titans and Vikings practice out here in Minnesota. We will get you caught up again to speed on the Traylon Burks injury coming up. But Caroline, what is our next topic in Jared versus Joe?
Before we get to Messi, I do have to get to this. Is the Titans kicking carousel kicking issues Craig Aukerman's fault? Jared, you go first.
I mean, it's hard for me not to say yes because it's like, I mean, there's two things about kicker that make me circle around Aukerman. Number one, kicker's just a part of the equation of what's bad with special teams, and what's been bad with special teams. I mean, as long as Vrabel's been the coach, which is this is his 6th year, I think. Like, they've never had a punt returner. They had Darius Jennings as a kickoff returner for about the first 3 weeks of Vrabel's first year, and then they stopped doing that. They have had some decent punters, but even then their punt coverage has been lacking, and they've never had a kicker. And I just don't get it. And then I watch all these other guys go out there, and it's like Cairo Santos has been kicking for the Bears for the last 4 years and just drilling them right down the middle since you cut them. And then Greg Joseph, he's out here kicking field goals for the Vikings ever since you cut him. And so it's like, so how can these guys go from not being able to hit the broadside of a barn as your kicker, and then now they're kicking in the NFL, not just for other teams, but they're like staying on these other teams and all the other things on special teams? I mean, it leads me to believe that if all of them are a problem, He's certainly a part of it, and so I can't not blame him for kicker. And my question is, if I can't not blame him for kicker, who do I blame for kicker? Do I blame Vrabel for kicker? Do I blame the GM for kicker? I mean, they don't have a kicking coach anymore. So who do I blame for kicker if I can't blame the special teams coach for kicker?
Let me just promise you this. Let's say Caleb Shudak wins the job, gets hot at the end of camp, wins the job, and he hits every field goal this year. He is the best kicker in the NFL. He's all pro. It's incredible. The Titans have found their guy. It's amazing. Not for one fraction of 1 second will I think, that Craig Ackerman and that great kicking coaching, I tell you what, it's just, I'm sorry, but I think it's obviously anything else in special teams is fair game, but I don't ever think of the special teams coach when I think of kicker performance. That's just me.
So then why are all the other guys going somewhere else and kicking?
Yeah, I don't know.
All of them.
Why
I mean,
Ryan Santoso's not kicking somewhere else, but everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, Santos, who else?
Is Suckup still with Tampa Bay, or did he retire?
But that was an injury situation.
Well, that was different, though. Yeah, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. You can blame Vrabel, I think, for that, right? I mean, they brought him back too quickly. I think it's ultimately a GM issue, but look, Cairo Santos missed 4 freaking field goals against the Bills, including 2 short ones, and they lose a close game, and Vrabel fired him, or John Robinson fired him. It's crazy. But if a guy has a performance one day that bad, what do you expect him to do?
So then why hasn't he had that same performance with the Bears?
So I don't know. But if it turns out after all this that it was Craig Ackerman was jinxing him in his headphones or something, or hey man, I'll apologize to you. I just can't look at Craig Ackerman.
How many kickers do they have to go through? Or are you you always blame the kicker for the kicker missing the kick? And what if these two guys, and I think both these guys are going to get cut. What if these two guys get cut and they both end up on NFL rosters kicking the other? I didn't think Greg Joseph was going to end up on an NFL roster kicking the way he's kicked for Minnesota.
Him up like that next week.
Unbelievable. And he hasn't left since. He's been their kicker for 3 years. If these two guys end up kicking somewhere else, then will you say, okay, maybe there's something in Tennessee that is the problem and not just the kicker is the problem?
I mean, hey, the more it happens, the more you have to bring it up. I'm trying to think, Mark Mosley was the 1982 NFL MVP, the freaking place kicker, straight-on place kicker for Washington. I have no idea who the special teams coach was, and no one ever mentioned him all year. But I will agree with you.
I don't know who Sandy Koufax's pitching coach was, but I do know that pitching coach is an important position in baseball.
Right, but that's still a specific position coach as opposed to the overall coordinator of special teams, right?
I mean, I guess. I do know this, though, that Floyd told me that one time that when I think it was the Lions, or maybe it might have been here with the Vikings, that when he got the job, Jan Stenerud was kicking, and he invited him, the snapper, and the holder over to his house for dinner, and he was like, wow, this is really nice before training camp for Jan Stenerud, the greatest kicker of all time, to invite us over. And that before dinner was served, they were in the living room, and Jan was showing the holder exactly how he wanted the ball held, exactly how he wanted it snapped. So it was important enough to bring the special teams coach over for dinner that night, Joe.
Well, you look at the two kickers, right? Trey Wolf needs to have it held differently. And they've worked to have Ryan Stonehouse change the way he holds for Trey Wolf than he holds for Caleb Shudak. So that attention to detail is here, too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying the special teams coach isn't involved, but I'm not giving him credit or blame, whatever happens with the kickers. That's just me.
Caroline?
Okay, Joe, you go first. What is bigger? Who is a bigger celebrity in Nashville? Michael Jordan playing in Nashville or Messi playing in Nashville?
Yeah, look, now I guess I'm going to come back with you because the point, Paul Kaharski made the point on this, which I think is important to distinguish, and he's right. When we talk about celebrity now, when we talk about the reach and social media and basically how much smaller the world has gotten now than compared to then, I think it's easy. I think it's an easy answer that it's Messi. Now, if you're comparing it in their time periods, I'm still going to go with Messi, and believe it hurts a hoops guy who's not really a soccer guy to say that. But I mean, let's think about like the sports. Okay, and first of all, you could also distinguish like Jordan was here playing baseball, and Messi's here in a game that actually counts.
Jordan played basketball here.
Yeah, he played an exhibition here too. But so Jordan was a global superstar who helped basketball, I think, become more of a global game. Like, think about the Dream Team in '92. You know, they went to Barcelona. It was like, well, these other countries, that's cute. And, you know, the Dream Team's going to win by 40, and everybody's going to have, like, 4 alley-oop dunks, and great, you know. And you look at where it is now, right, where the world has come. I mean, it's gotten way better worldwide. And I absolutely give Jordan a lot of credit for that. And he was a global superstar. But, like, Messi is the biggest star of a sport that already grips the entire world. And other than this country, basically, other than in this country, is the biggest sport, period, and there's not a close second. And I think people – I know it's hard, I think, sometimes for Americans to kind of come to terms with that, but it's true. It's absolutely true. So I've got to go Messi on both counts. But it's close if you're – it's close if you're not taking it into account.
So I just think that when Michael Jordan, at the peak of his celebrity with the Bulls, I mean, I think Michael Jordan was the most famous person in the world, like, period. And I don't think Messi, who's incredibly famous, I mean, TD and I were joking about it, that as much as I crap on the soccer team, the fact that Messi's coming here Saturday, like, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. But, I mean, I think Michael Jordan was at one point in time the most famous person in the world. And the fact that the most famous person in the world played basketball here, I mean, if we're talking about who at their peak was more famous, who's a bigger deal that they played in Nashville, Messi or Michael Jordan, I think the answer is Michael Jordan. Now, I'll give you Messi over Tom Brady, but I'm not going to give you Messi over Michael Jordan. I mean, even watch the beginning of the Last Dance documentary where all those people in France were going freaking bananas over Michael Jordan playing an exhibition game for the McDonald's championship, which it sounds like this championship that Nashville SC is playing for Saturday night is as important as the McDonald's championship was for Jordan and the Bulls. Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman didn't even go, and it was still a giant thing that Michael Jordan was there. Oprah called Michael Jordan the most famous person on the planet. And the fact that the most famous person came here and not only played basketball, but also played baseball against the Nashville Express at Greer Stadium. And I went to the game. My aunt got us tickets. I have no idea what she paid. Although I've seen apparently the prices for this Messi game on Saturday.
Crazy, $600 standing room only.
Ridiculous. I mean, there's no way it can't be Michael Jordan.
No, so Jared, let me just correct. First of all, you talk about most famous person in the world. Let's go back. Let's go Jordan 1989, Jordan 1991. The most famous person in the world at that point was Michael Jackson. It wasn't Michael Jordan. Michael Jackson was absolutely the more famous person
worldwide. But Michael
worldwide.
Jordan has been the most famous person in the world, something that Messi will never be.
I just said at that time when he was at the peak of his fame, he still was not more famous. The better argument now is like who's more famous, Messi or Taylor Swift, right? Like that's the argument now.
I don't think that's an argument. I think the answer is Taylor Swift.
But also, how biased are we that we are living in the United States and Messi is like a global icon? Like, how popular is Taylor Swift in Argentina?
I mean, I think Taylor Swift's pretty popular in Argentina. I mean, she's taking her tour on the road in Europe, and they're selling out like they sell out here.
Yeah, but
he
if
sells
Messi
out any stadium in any
he would
country.
sell out too.
I don't think Messi could sell out like if he were to do 3 nights in a row, I don't think he could sell out the same thing for like these 70,000, 80,000 seat venues. But I could be wrong. I mean, I know Messi's a superstar. I'm not knocking that. But, I mean, again, Michael Jordan was the most famous person in the world. In the late 90s. You give me that. No, so in 1997, you think there was a more famous person in the world than Michael Jordan?
I mean, I think entertainers are often, like someone brought up, it's like, okay, what about Bill Clinton? Who was the more famous person in 1990s, or most famous, Bill Clinton or Michael Jordan? I mean, I think you can make the case for a lot of people outside of sports.
Well, somebody texted into your show and said the Bee Gees. So I mean,
I still say Michael Jackson. Man.
You think Michael Jackson, even the late 90s, with all that Never Neverland Ranch stuff, that Michael Jackson
that stuff
still most popular.
That stuff wasn't really hitting yet.
When did that hit? I mean, I feel like that's always been. My entire life.
That was like the mid 2000s.
Well, he was acquitted in the mid 2000s. Because he died. In the mid-2000s.
It was like early 2000.
No, he died in what, like 2012?
No, I think he died in like 2008, 2009.
The stuff came in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Really? Not the 90s?
Yeah. No, it wasn't the 90s.
You think in 1998 Michael Jackson was more famous than Michael Jordan?
People had.
I was in the third grade. So
people were in his presence, and they had to be taken to the hospital. I don't think it gets any worse than that.
That is wild. Caroline, who wins this week?
I defer my duties this week to our judge of honor, Teron Davenport.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did she tell you she was going to do this or no? Are you on the spot?
She gave me a hint.
Oh, okay.
Listen, I side with I'm going to go 3-2. But I think Joe won this.
Oh, no!
You know when you lost it? When you told me that Malik Willis should take the back seat to Will Levis right now, I don't agree with that. That was my major dispute. And then also, you had the wrong MJ.
I think you guys are crazy. Then again, I was in the third grade and when Jordan was in 98. And I never really cared about music as compared to how I felt about sports.
Yeah.
So
you're
obviously,
such a Michael Jordan fangirl.
Well, duh. But
It was so different with Michael Jackson, man. So different.
Michael Jackson.
It really was.
I just remember that "We Are the World" song. We learned that in fifth grade.
We Are the World. Yeah.
I remember that was a big deal. Other than that, I knew about Michael Jackson, and I knew that Michael Jackson had made himself white, and. Other than that, I don't know when the Neverland Ranch, when did all that Macaulay Culkin stuff, when did that all happen? You said it's the early 2000s?
He was cool with Macaulay Culkin in the late 90s.
In the 90s, yeah.
But the craziness.
Wasn't the assumption that he had Macaulay Culkin to the Neverland Ranch or something like that?
No, yeah, but as a friend, he had all kinds of celebrity kids that used to come over to the Neverland Ranch. That was through the 90s, no one thought there was anything of any of that.
Fascinating.
He could also be the weirdest person on the world. Most famous and
well, when we think about the 90s, the most famous, O.J. Simpson might have ended up being the most famous person of the 90s, but that's really more infamous than it is famous.
And you can't sleep on Mike Tyson, too.
Yeah, Mike Tyson wasn't as famous as Michael Jackson.
No, nobody was.
Except
that's
Michael Jordan.
Point.
There you go. All right, Joe. Congratulations.
Thanks, TD. Good judging.
Thank you.
All right.
She just put
Thanks,
that
TD.
on me.
Thanks, TD. Thanks, Caroline.
I texted TD.
She shot me a text.
All right, we'll recap what happened at practice, including the injury to Traylon Burks, what TD saw, what we saw, what we know so far. We'll do that next. Stillman and Company, live from practice, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
It will help them get better players.
I'm really excited about this defensive front.
And your source for Nashville sports.
They had missed the playoffs.
Those players may end up being practice squad guys.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey everybody, Joe Rexrode here to tell you about PhD Weight Loss. Went into the program with the goal of losing 38 pounds. Hit that goal. I feel great. Loving the food items they provide. No pills involved in there. No gimmicks, no other suppressants, no cravings. It feels good, and I'm in the maintenance situation now, and that's the thing about this. It's sustainable, okay? This program is a plateau-busting program. If you try to lose weight before, you know about the plateau. You kind of stall out, eventually quit, move on to something else. PhD Weight Loss, we're talking constant care. We're talking customized program designed for you, tweaked for you. I have a coach, Rachel. I talk with her every week, and she got me me through to the 38 pounds, and now I'm in maintenance, and I'm going to keep it off and maybe lose a little bit more, but you can add a little bit more food to the plate, and this has been very, very easy, very fun. And there's a guarantee. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight at the end of your program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. Join me now. You won't regret it. Visit myphdweightloss.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
102.5 and 106.3, The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robbie and Rex Road, 6 to 9.
Big time performance, best part of the team.
Chase McCabe, 9 to 11.
An unrestricted free agent.
Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace, 11 to 2.
Got the big contract.
The Velvet Touch. Talk about Hall of Famers.
And Stillman and Company, 2 to 6.
Kept going for it.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Smashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3, The Game.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
How would you say to Traylon and how tough is that to have that happen in the practice?
Yeah, just went over, checked on him. You hate seeing that. We'll find out more information and see what's really going on, but hopefully it's going to be all right. I think he seemed obviously upset and understandably so. Just thoughts and prayers are with him right now, and hopefully, it's not too bad.
There you go. That was Tannehill earlier today talking about Traylon Burks. TD is with us here at practice. Again, the big story, and I thought the Titans defense had a good day today against the Vikings offense, and yet the big story was Traylon Burks' injury to the left leg. We don't know. Was it knee? Was it calf? Was it hamstring? Was it toe? We don't know. From your vantage point, what did you see on the Traylon Burks injury?
Well, I think it really came, the thing that I wonder is if it came when his knee hit the ground right before he tumbled or after he tumbled. I think that's where the problem could be. And with Dr. Chow saying the bone bruise, it would make sense there. That would make sense. So regardless, I think it happened after he had contact with the ground. And then I think when he got up, he realized what it was when he took that step. And that's why he took the step and then spiked the ball. That's the way I look at it, looking back at it.
So there's a part of me that when it happened freaked out, and I sprinted down the hill to see, what was what. And that I freaked out when Burks got hurt and saw the cart and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was a part of me that, when Chris Sanders said that he thought it might be a torn ACL, that I got all nervous. What'd you got?
So Ian Rappaport says Traylon Burks suffered an LCL sprain during practice, sources say after the MRI. This is good news as Burks should only miss a few weeks. A bad scare, but a solid result considering.
Yes!
So that's Ian Rappaport.
Thank you! Thank you for not ending the season today at practice. And I was about to tell you because I was about to hit the panic button, when I saw the injury and thought about it and everything else that had happened. What the Dr. Chow said and the other doctor, what they said, that it was not, that they didn't think it was an ACL. That kind of got me, frowned upside down a little bit. But then I was always worried about the official news. So what, again, did Ian Rappaport say it was?
A sprained LCL, which is – so you have MCL, LCL. I think the lateral was behind it. I know MCL guys have been able to have that worked on and come back. But I'm not fully familiar with LCL. That's something I'm going to have to text Stefania about.
I literally just texted her about it.
Oh, good.
I said Rappaport says it's a sprained LCL.
Yeah.
So – well, that just changed a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
that just changed the whole – great. All right. Hey, you know what, Traylon? Take off as much time as you need. I've seen enough in training camp. And I know that last year when he had the turf toe, Vrabel was very complimentary of the job that he did to stay in shape, even though he had the turf toe injury. So I'm not worried about Burks getting out of shape by being off his feet for a little bit. So I think that this is fantastic news for the Titans, and I am absolutely elated. And now we can talk about how the Titans defense kicked the crap out of the Vikings offense today. And now I feel so much better about it.
Hey, I mean, it's great news. I just feel better for him, the person, you know what I mean? But, yeah, it's great news for the Titans, for the fans, for everybody.
What is an LCL?
I have no clue.
I know the PCL. I know the MCL. I know the ACL. What is the LCL? The lateral something
it's
ligament?
the lateral. But I remember I saw like a whole – because they had one of those models of the knee with the rubber bands being the tendons and things. I remember seeing that, and it was really interesting. But
So David sent this to me. What are LCL tears? Good job, David. A lateral collateral ligament tear is a knee injury that causes pain, swelling, and bruising. Your LCL is a band of tissue located on the outside of the knee, the side that faces away from your body. This tissue connects your lower leg bones to your thigh bone. It stops your knee from bending outward abnormally.
So he may have to wear a brace then.
Sounds like so it keeps you from hyperextending your knee?
Yeah. And look, it makes sense because if you figure when he rolled over – because I remember he caught it and he had to look back at the video, but I think it was that left leg that hit first, and then he rolled.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
So great news for the Titans. TD?
Christmas is back on for you.
Christmas is back on. Great job by the Titans defense. I can be excited about it. We'll get to your phones, pick it up on the other side. TD, good to see you as always out here. We'll see you tomorrow here for practice here, and he'll be with us throughout the show. On the Stillman & Company program. TD, always good to see you. Let me tell you about Twice Daily. That's right. I love Twice Daily. I go to Twice Daily all the time. In fact, I would say I go twice daily, but quite frankly, I think I truly might actually go more than twice daily. And so get that app, get the rewards. If you're somebody like me and you're always going to Twice Daily, go get the app because you will save money with it. They'll take great care of you as they always do. And again, everybody knows that because everybody's been to a Twice Daily because there's so many of them, and they are awesome. Download the Twice Daily app today and join the loyalty program to unlock special discount savings and so much more. It pays to be a member with Twice Daily. You'll earn points and save money with every visit. Get what you crave at Twice Daily. Made to order sandwiches, bakery, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Fresh items made to go. Hot drink, cold drinks, and of course you can stop by the beer cave to unwind with a cold one. If you're looking for convenience, Twice Daily has you covered. Buy any hot dog piled high with your choice of toppings, a bag of Frito-Lay chips, and your choice of a 20-ounce Coke or Pepsi for only $5 with the app. Offer ends August 28th. Twice Daily, fresh all day.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike three.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
We buy any car. Selling your car by yourself can lead to some strange encounters.
So how many bodies does this car hold? Bodies? It's a 5-passenger car. Right. Passengers.
Don't deal with selling it yourself. Come to WeBuyAnyCar.com instead. It's easy. You get in, get out, and get paid at a fair price.
I sell mannequins. Oh, what'd you think? Nothing. Nothing at all.
Get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Hang on. It's going to be a wild ride.
The PBR team's champions, the Nashville Stampede, are coming home in a run to defend their title. Stampede Days, August 18th through 20th at Bridgestone Arena. Heart-pounding action you don't want to miss. Tickets start at $20. Get yours today at PBR.com or Ticketmaster.com. Join us for the ride.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
One is a legendary NFL wide receiver.
I gotta be prepared. I have to be ready.
One is a legendary Nashville voice.
You don't have to rely on carrying the ball 250 to 300 times.
And the other has been a legendary trash talker on the playground since the 4th grade.
Nobody is a Pro Bowler on day one of rookie minicamp.
They are Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Yeah, it's very concerning. Obviously, we don't know the severity or nothing's confirmed yet, but obviously I heard about it when we kind of went to special teams, and obviously praying for him, hoping that everything is going well. But he's a big part of what we do as an offense and as a team, so obviously you want everything to be okay.
There you go, Kevin Byard saying that he's praying for Treylon Burks, and the prayers worked. Ian Rappaport saying that it is a sprain of the LCL. Man, it's crazy. I could see TD walking on the field right now, right in front of me, and he was just up here, and now he looks like a little ant. But they say it's a sprain of the LCL and not what I feared, which could be, of course, the ACL or the Achilles or something like that. Again, I was having a good time at practice today watching the Titans. In fact, I said this, and I was standing up there with somebody at Titans PR and with Gentry Estes from the Tennessean, and I was talking about how because we were so far away on the defensive field that I could kind of, I was like, hey, good job, 33. Whereas I can't say that when I'm down there on the sidelines, even though Tannehill and Burks had a touchdown the other day in the bubble, and I was standing in the corner of the end zone when they threw it, and I almost, after they, it's hard not to get excited. They throw a touchdown. I almost want to, hey, high five me too, guys. But as soon as I saw Burks go down, I thought, oh, no. Oh, no. I was just starting to feel good about this team. And now Treylon Burks. But Ian Rappaport reports it's the LCL and that he'll miss a couple of weeks. And honestly, I don't even care if he misses a couple of weeks of the season. Just make sure that you're healthy, babe, because this team needs them. And so, again, the downright despair and depression that I had at the start of this compared to how I feel right now, honestly, it's a little wild and it's a little crazy. I mean, I have to be completely frank with you. This has been a roller coaster show. But again, Treylon Burks, and when he fired that football down in disgust, I mean, I felt like that was the equivalent of when those players put the towels over their head and they get carted off the field. But nope. And thank goodness. 615-737-1025, and our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Tyler wants to weigh in on this argument that Joe Rexrode and I had. Messi and Michael Jordan, the most famous athlete to ever play in Nashville. Go ahead, Tyler.
Jared, first, I just want to say that you are hands down my favorite radio host of all time. I listen to 102.5 all the time because of you.
Thank you.
And
tell Joe that, by the way.
Also helps. You know what I'm saying? But yes. So here's the thing, that the point I wanted to make about MJ and Messi. So I feel like Messi gets the nod as far as athlete of all time because of the sport that he plays. MJ obviously is very popular, but Messi is in soccer or football, right? Known globally. He's a global icon. Soccer's way more popular. So I would just like your thoughts on that.
I mean, yes, soccer is more popular than basketball, no doubt. But Michael Jordan, it was the guy that made basketball famous around the world. Messi didn't make soccer famous around the world. And I'm not arguing Messi. Messi is a huge superstar. I mean, the fact that Messi's coming to Nashville SC, that's unbelievable. But I still don't think it's bigger than Jordan, who I think was the most famous person on the planet at the end of the 90s. The end of the Bulls run, 97, 98. I mean, I think Jordan was the most famous person in the world. Let's go to James, who's up next here on the program. Thank you for calling. What's up, James?
Well, Jared, I first want to give you a restaurant recommendation. I don't know how long you're going to be up there, but there's a place called Manny's Steakhouse in Minneapolis, and I go there every other year. It is probably one of the – if you love dry-aged meat especially, like they have a 72-day dry-aged bone and ribeye.
But I do appreciate the recommendation, and it's Manny's Steakhouse, and I will check it out. But go ahead and get me onto the Titans, James.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say this, get your opinion on if we or should we look into the possibility once cuts are made, trying to fill that gap. You know you can't fill it all the way, but maybe just plug in somebody that's halfway decent. What do you think the Titans should do? I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, I don't think they have to do any of that now because Treylon Burks is going to be okay. Now, here's the thing, that if Treylon Burks, and the Titans are not going to not have an injury this season. Right? Like they're going to have injuries and they're going to have depth issues at certain spots. They already have depth issues now. But there's just something about, where everybody sits in the receiver depth chart where I feel comfortable. Like, I think Burks is a big play, bona fide star talent receiver. And I think Hopkins is a high volume, he'll catch the ball, he'll move the chains, he'll do this, I think Hopkins is that guy. And so I like where they both sit. And when Burks got carted off in the next play, it was Westbrook-Akina who was out wide opposite Hopkins. No knock on Westbrook-Akina, but I like him as the, third or fourth receiver on the team and not the first or second receiver on the team. I don't think they need to make a trade. I think what's great is the Titans, the back end of the receiver position, I think there's a real battle between Colton Dowell and Kearis Jackson and Reggie Roberson and Trayshawn Harrison and maybe Racey McMath if you want to throw him in there. And I believe that the winner of that spot may not even make the team, that may be the position where they keep the third quarterback. And then they know that not all of those guys that I just mentioned are going to get claimed. So whichever guys they can get through to the practice squad, that's who they're going to get through. But, I really like Trayshawn Harrison. And he's been showing up all camp. And I really like Kearis Jackson and those bottom end guys. And I'm not convinced that anybody that would be available via the waiver wire would necessarily be better than Kearis Jackson would be for this football team. So maybe now this changes the composition of the roster because the Titans keep one of those guys instead of saying, well, we'll get them through to the practice squad anyways. But I do believe that now that the Burks news is the good news, that Treylon Burks is not out for the season, that it's not an ACL, that it's a matter of weeks, and we don't know, how long. We don't know, how long the PCL is or whatever it may be, the LCL, or we don't know how long that is, what weeks are defined as. But, man, I got to tell you, I feel great about it. Boy, what a wild day. Get out to practice. It's having a good time out at practice. And then all of a sudden, Treylon Burks goes down, and I think the season is over. And then we hear that it might not be over. And then we hear another doctor that says it might not be. And then he slips in at the last second. David's injury guru, doctor.com, slipped in there that it might be the ACL. And so then we waited. And Ian Rappaport reports it's the LCL and not the ACL or the PCL or the MCL, and all should be all right for today. That's going to do it for us. We're out of here. We are back again tomorrow at 2 o'clock with a full breakdown from the second day of Titans and Vikings joint practices. TD will be right here with us. David, great job today filling in for Ian.
Thank you, buddy.
I mean, today was a very tough show for somebody that doesn't do it every day and all the moving parts we had. And, I mean, not 1 ounce of a slip-up from David today. Not even Caroline could screw you up today. If anybody screwed up the most, it's me, because I forgot the little thing so that TD could hear most of the time. But, David, great job today. Wonderful job. Look forward to having you back soon enough.
I appreciate it, Jared.
There you go. That's it for us. We're out of here. Stillman and Company. We'll see you tomorrow, too.